your job. Do your job. And we're going to start the show. By the way, appreciate each and every single one of you coming aboard. Thank you guys very much. I cannot thank you guys enough for coming here. Do me a favor, please hit the like button. Super chats go to the top, and I want to start this bad puppy off by doing this. You know, all the things that I tell you guys about the media, it's not just in Philly, but every single time I tell you about the media in access, this comes down to what we speak about all the time when people call my boss all the time, and what they try to do is they try to get me fired each and every single time. Okay? I'm going to say this to the radio stations and also to the newspaper, the Philadelphia Inquirer. Do your fucking jobs. So now you're writing after the fact on Nick Castellanos and him drinking a beer in the dugout. Now you're writing about it after the fact when you knew all of that stuff was going on. And why didn't you write about it? You know why? Because the Phillies told you not to write about it. Accessibility, not doing your job. So let me get this right. If you think the Philadelphia Phillies can do that stuff, what makes you think the most popular football team and most popular sports team in your city doesn't hide information and doesn't tell media people not to talk about this? You don't think the Eagles do this shit too? Hey, guy, Jeff McClain, don't talk about this yet. We'll let you know. Do your job. Can't do it anymore. You know why? That's why shows like this are important. Because we don't play that game, homie. Homie don't play that. Not here. And that's exactly why they hate shows like this and me. You know why? We don't play that game. Unfortunately, you got a city full of, what did Angelo say yesterday? Pussies that won't cover the sport anymore, that won't give you the news. All of a sudden now you're big heroes. You're talking about Nick Castellanos and him drinking beers in the locker room and in the dugout. That's after the fact, dude. Why didn't you write it last year? You know, that's the big goof going on in Philly now. That the Philadelphia media is no longer what the Philadelphia media used to be, where they had people that actually covered sports. They would never let shit like that go. Hey, by the way, not that I think drinking a beer on the bench is all that a crime. Okay? Hey, was the guy a worm? Probably. Did everybody hate him? Probably. But I'll tell you what, Bryce Harper, that guy needs to sack up. He's not very tough. Dave Dombrowski didn't say enough shit to get his little panties in a bind. He had 275 with 27 homers. And the guy's crying already? Give me a break. So what? Not the point, Jimbo, that Castellanos was a douche. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people doing their jobs. I'm already reading reports that Denzel Ward and Rashawn Gary could be cap casualties. Also, know anybody else? I'll be working on that, Kyle. I saw that too. Rashawn Gary. Of course, Rashawn Gary's going to be a cap casualty. Why? Because they went out and did what? They signed Micah Parsons. Of course, they're going to be in that conversation. Okay? Beers in the dugout, that's elite shit. I do like, hi-ya. That's not what I'm really talking about, but hey, dude, do your job. Do your job. Cover the team, not after the fact. You guys are missing, I think some of you are missing my point. You're missing my point. Telling me about how teams don't control the narrative. Philadelphia, two teams I know of that cover the narrative and lead the narrative are the Phillies and the Eagles. If they don't want a story out, you know what they do? They go to people like ESPN. They go to people who cover your Phillies. Don't cover this. We don't want this in the mainstream right now. We'll let you know. Wow. Really? That's not doing your job. That's the stuff we talk about. That's the stuff we tell you why our show's important. Because you get an opportunity. This is why they hate you. All right, hit the like button. We appreciate it. By the way, Olympics coming down the lane here. We're now in the midweek of the final week, so I loved the Olympics. Ratings were excellent this time for this games. I think it being in Milan was absolutely sensational. I think NBC did a great job. So here are the dates. This weekend, business is underway. Business is underway right now on what to do with A.J. Brown, what to do with Mike Evans, what to do with a bunch of guys. Deals are being cut now, okay? That's why when that trading deadline and free agency starts, trading deadline, more so free agency starts, these deals are going to be done. That's March 11th. Combines is this week. Draft is April 23rd. And I've got to tell you, it's going to be an interesting offseason. I told you this yesterday. One of the most important things that happens right now, every single thing you do right now is going to dictate the success of your team. By the way, let's do this. Because we had this conversation, right? Last year we had this conversation. How much do you think of the 2025 offseason had a direct impact on the team getting knocked out of the playoffs in the first round? How many people believe that? What you didn't do in the 2025 offseason, how much do you think that had an impact on the final result of your team? What do you think? 1 out of 5. 5? 4? 1,000%. Okay? How much? Get this. None. All the things that they didn't do in the offseason, every single thing I said that happened in the offseason was a direct result of what happened and why you failed last year. Every single thing. Coaching blew it. Coaching blew it. Hey, KC, coaching and all the decisions you made in the offseason by hiring Kevin Patullo happened in the offseason. That's part of the offseason. Is it not? They had the players to win. Really. So this guy blames, hey, guys, what do you think wins games? Players or plays? KCA thinks plays win and not players. I think you're overrated, KC. KC, you think plays win games and not players? Really? You think plays win over players? Really? Tells me a little bit about yourself there, guy. Come on, the only thing you could point to that might be a failing is not recognizing how bad the O-line would be impacted by the injury and fatigue. But nobody had that on the radar in the summer. You didn't have that on the radar in the summer when we were talking about Cam Jurgens not being able to practice at all in the offseason and not really doing anything until the start of the season. He wasn't available for OTAs or minicamp at all in the offseason. He had surgery in the offseason. Landon Dickerson had 2 surgeries. You didn't think there would be a problem going into the regular season with your offensive line? We pointed that out. We pointed it out. All right. So let's start here. Let's start with one of the biggest and most meteoric moves that you made. How much do you think Jeff Stoutland's departure is going to impact future offensive lines in Philadelphia? What do you think? What do you guys think? Jeff Stoutland's departure will impact future O-lines in what way? What do you think? You guys think you're going to be the same offensive line that you've been for the last 12 years, 13 years? Do you? Who cares? Just win? That's what we're talking about. Development of low-round draft picks. Not the question. How much do you think the departure of Jeff Stoutland and the future offensive lines that won 2 Super Bowls and 3 appearances is going to be affected by Stoutland not being? I actually got this topic from Jimmy Johnson. How many people believe that your offensive lines will never be the same and that his departure will impact future O-lines? The offseason moves wasn't aggressive, therefore resulting in the team not being aggressive, and it sure showed it. And it showed its ugly head. Marshall, exactly. Great take. Thank you. Absolutely. I'm going to say 50 to 75%. Get this. Jeff Stoutland's way is old. It isn't part of the philosophy going forward. So you hired a guy who fucking failed in Minnesota. And this guy's telling you right here, he thinks that guy who failed in Minnesota is an upgrade. And that's the new way. Hiring a failure coach versus a guy who's going to Canton. Okay? Hey, so let me ask you this. Is Vic Fangio's way outdated too? He's older. He's 67. He's almost 70. That guy is so dumb. I really love the fact he comes here and just talks as fucking dumb as he can be. It's so rewarding to see how somebody can be so dumb and not know a fucking thing about football. And it's so wonderful to be able to show you the difference between smart thinking and people who have a box of rocks for a brain. It's wonderful. Are you crazy? I love it. The guy is the fucking dumbest person that's ever come on my shows in 35 years. Okay? Yeah. Okay, well, that'll be new. Vic's scheme is still copied. It works. So, hey, Forrest, are you under the impression? So, wait a minute. A year ago, let's see here. A year ago, to this day, the greatest running attack in pro football. You think that Jeff Stoutland got old in 12 months? And his way of coaching got old in 12 months? So my wife says, Sue, thank you. Sills, didn't I hear you the other day arguing that Devin Lloyd is an edge rusher? He's an off-ball linebacker. Just saying. He plays OLB, dude. They got him OLB. I think he only had 3.5 sacks. Hey, by the way, Jalen Phillips only had 3.5 sacks. I mean, did he not? Right? If I did say that, you're right. He is inside. So again, the impact of your offensive line moving forward without Jeff Stoutland. How many people believed you're going to have the same kind of group of offensive linemen? How many people believe that? Do you think you're still going to be dominant in the O-line moving forward? You weren't dominant last year because of injuries. Do you believe you're going to be dominant moving forward under Romper Room, under Chris Romper, or whatever his name is? And Reyes says they've hired a new Jeff Stoutland. That this guy's the new guy, even though Minnesota kicked his ass out. Very concerned. I'm with you. And Reyes says they got the brand new guy. He is a new, Minnesota, we poached him from Minnesota, even though Minnesota didn't offer him a contract. We poached him. Another fabulous take by Numbnuts. But by M. Numbnuts. That's his new name. M. Numbnuts. It wasn't the same before he departed. Needs to be rebuilt. Great coaches come and go. Life goes on. That's not my question. My question, Carmine, is do you believe that the departure of Jeff Stoutland will have an impact on future O-lines? Yes or no, Carmine? I think it's going to have a massive impact. Do you? Even M. Numbnuts. M. Reyes Numbnuts knows better. Scheming around patchwork lines is necessity when you have to dump for future money into the defense. Yeah, but that was a staple there, Rasputin. Your offensive line was a staple. Even M. Reyes Numbnuts knows that. Barkley's career could be over after another disappointing season behind this line. I completely agree. The Eagles' CB2 problem, free agency or draft? I think they're going to address it in free agency, but not a big free agency move. I don't. Holy cow. M. Reyes Numbnuts has contributed. Thank you very much. Hey, Dillhole Dan, where will you hide when we win? In your mom's house. Let's see. Sills, the Birds are stepping away from that kind of offense for a quick read, dink and dunk spread offense. Stupid. Absolutely. Yeah, at your mom's house. So, Sills, if the running game in the O-line looks good this year, does that mean the talent made stout? No. Dude, isn't it true Lane Johnson is the only guy from that Super Bowl offensive line that won the second one? Am I right? Am I right? So Lane was the only guy that was on that line in 17. Am I correct? Dre, am I right? Okay. Right? So who made that line? Right? Thank you for entertaining from 2 to 6. KCA, thank you very much for being here. Are you kidding me? Having a guy like M. Reyes. And, you're kidding me, right? Look at this. Eat them scrap cells. This guy's got comebacks. Hey, this guy has got about as good a comeback as Hassan Reddick had when he was in Tampa. Hey, what a comeback. This guy's had like a comeback like Reddick in Tampa with 1 sack. Seals, do you think these professional athletes have room to improve with the new coach after they have already graduated from Stoutland? Zero chance. Can you imagine if they had Brandon Brooks? Dude was a steel wall. Injuries, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to move on to the second topic. This is fun. This is great. Hit the like button. We appreciate each and every single one of you being here. Thank you very much. Let's see. Thanks for the entertainment, Dan. Thank you for the entertainment. Reyes. Yeah. I actually like the guy. Even though he's dumb as a box of rocks, it's all right. Sills is in a wheelchair roasting the shit out of M. Reyes. What is going on today? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get this thing rolling here. You know what? I roast this guy enough like he's a peanut in South Carolina. So maybe one day we have to get his ass signed because, again, I can't believe that he actually thinks some of the stupid shit that he believes. Maybe the stupider the person, maybe the dumber you are, maybe the more chances you have of coming on. He's not dumb. He's just a glazer. New school Eagle fan. Yeah, I know he is. Dropping a little. M. Reyes likes the little worm dropped in his mouth. It's the Howie worm. Here's a Howie worm. Here, M. Reyes. Here's a Howie worm. There you go. He's like the little birdies in the nest. Yeah. RC3 too. He's in that bitch. Oh, man. Flexing. Apologize. M. Reyes is from Australia. Oh, man. He's from Australia. No. He's from like Ecuador. They call football. Okay. Here's LJ's brother. Fifth string DT acts like he won a Super Bowl as a player, coach and GM. Dude, you're a soft, seriously. Honest to God, dude, you're fucking soft. You and your bullshit. Here's another guy that comes in here and thinks that, look, what do you think you rattled the chain? I know douchebags like you for 35 years, guy. M nuts. It's nasty work. That's okay. M. Reyes numbnuts. What do you, I mean, come on, Marsh. You know better than that. Are you kidding me? Like how dudes are getting personal here. Nothing personal. Strictly business. In honor of Robert Duvall. It's strictly business. Are you kidding me, Forrest? Bring Reyes on. He's not deserved it yet. He's got to do more knee dragging. I don't think he's dragged enough knees yet. When I think he's dragged enough Howie knee and Nick Sirianni knees, then we'll put him on. I don't think he's kissed the ass of the Eagles enough yet. I think he's almost there. So I think he's got to kiss a little more ass. He's pretty good. Hey, listen, believe me, numbnuts will get there. Off topic. Did you ever play those SMU Mustangs? No. I almost played for I played for the coach, Ron Meyer. That was at SMU. All right. So let's go to another fun topic today. By the way, do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Okay? How many people believe that this is Vic Fangio's final season with the Eagles? How many people believe this is it? Vic Fangio. I do. Nope. Definitely. Kyle? Wow. Even RC3. Gabe? Last hurrah. And Reyes, I'd say it's 85-15, the final go. He's getting up there in age and has already made it evident. Okay? By that, hard to believe. Actually, there's a decent take from this guy. Okay? It depends on the season. I think if he wins and they win a Super Bowl, don't you think, 32, he'd call it a career? Okay, right? All right. So when Vic Fangio retires and leaves Philly, does the Eagle defense collapse again? Yes or no? Does it collapse again like it did in 23? If he's not here? With all the money you've put on that side of the ball, or money that you're going to put on that side of the ball, you don't believe that Vic Fangio is responsible. Would you not agree that in the last 10 years, how about this one? Is Vic Fangio better than Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator? No. So you're going to go and do what? Okay? It's not going to implode. Okay? So you think that you're going to hire a plug-and-play defensive coordinator to replace Vic Fangio? And you're going to just plug in another guy? Like you plug in your... Who's making that hire? Nick? How's that gone with coordinators? Hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss. You're going to do that again with Nick on defense? Hit, miss, hit, miss. You tell me, what gives you that confidence when they've changed out all these offensive coordinators that you're all of a sudden going to be, what, finding another guy? That you're going to find another guy? Is it, really? Do you guys believe you're going to find another guy? Are you going to find another dude? Can't hit them all? That's my point. Hart, that's my point. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. Prince, Vic is clearly the better coach. So, Prince, my point is, who's going to make these hires when Vic leaves? Nick? Hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss. You're going to be on that seesaw again, this time on defense. Who's going to make those hires? Nick Sirianni? Let's do this and give Nick Sirianni some kudos here. There's been some success. There's been failure at the coordinator position, right? It's hit or miss. Vic Fangio is a hit. It's a grand slam. He's one of the best hires you've ever had. You can make the argument that Vic Fangio is as good of a coordinator. How about this? I'll make this proclamation to you. Vic Fangio is a better defensive coordinator than Jim Johnson. Is he not? He's more accomplished. In Vic Fangio's time as defensive coordinator, he's already more accomplished than Jim Johnson. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one. He's had the number 1 defense in the NFL. As a matter of fact, no, he's not. Okay, well, what did Jim Johnson do that Vic Fangio hasn't done? Or better yet, what has Jim Johnson done that Vic Fangio hasn't done? No way? Okay? What has he done? Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at Jim Johnson's accomplishments. Jim Johnson, D coordinator. Jim Johnson, defensive coordinator. Let's take a look at what he's done. God rest his soul. Let's see here. Accomplishments. Okay. Let's see here. 1999 to 2008 with the Philadelphia Eagles was renowned defensive mastermind known for aggressive blitzing. Okay. Let's see. 5 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl appearance. Elite rankings, ranked second in the NFL in sacks, second in down efficiency, fourth fewest points in 2000 and 2003. Led the NFL in turnovers. Pro Bowl talent of Brian Dawkins, Troy Vincent, Jeremiah Trotter, and Hugh Douglas. Guided the defense to 7 playoff appearances, 5 NFC championships, and a Super Bowl appearance. Okay. Vic Fangio, in his time, has guided the football team to 2 NFC championships in 3 years and has a record, let me see here, 14-3. Had another one of 11-6. Excuse me. Let's see here. 14-3 and 11-6. He's 25-9. And Vic Fangio's got an NFC championship and a Super Bowl. And the number 1 ranked defense, which Jim Johnson's never done. Okay? Fangio does not have 2 NFC. You're right. My bad. The 2022 was Jonathan Gannon. 1 Super Bowl. Thank you, Prince. Okay? Jim Johnson unleashed Weapon X on the league. Vic Fangio won a Super Bowl. And that's a good take because Vic was the consultant to the football team in 22. They wanted him as DC in 23, but the Dolphins got to him soon. That's correct. Actually, Forrest, he wasn't the pseudo DC, but he got an NFC championship ring because he was on the staff. You're right. By the way, also, hey, Ramen, what else did Jim Johnson have the benefit of? Do you know? Howie Roseman ripping a number 1 defense apart. And free agency had just started. I think free agency started in 94. Vic didn't go to the Super Bowl with San Francisco. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the 1 in 22 with the Eagles. Not sure if you watched the Micah podcast with AJ. He talked about almost an Eagle, but found out Carter would be traded for him. Only way he wasn't to be an Eagle was to play with Carter. Telling on JC. I don't know if I buy all that. I think it had more to do with Jerry Jones not wanting to trade inside the division, and he didn't want to see Parsons banging on his quarterback. He didn't want to see Dak Prescott getting nailed and getting crushed in the pocket by Micah Parsons twice a year. Okay? I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to it. Kim, I'm not saying. I've heard a lot of people tell me that. But Carter in a 1 and a 3 for him, man, that's a ton. I'm not sure. I could see Carter in a 3 for Parsons, or or Carter in a 1, but a 3 also? Man, that's a little rich. Seals, Clint Hurt or Bobby King? Who do you replace with Vic? This is going to sound crazy. I'm going against my guy. I think Bobby King would be the better coordinator. Can I tell you why? Guys, why do you think Bobby King would be a better replacement at coordinator? And I love Clint Hurt. And I think Clint would do a great job. But why do you think I would pick Bobby King to be the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles? Why would I pick him? By the way, I know Bobby King. He was a linebacker coach in San Diego. And by the way, not Hurt season. What's Vic's forte? He was a linebacker coach. That's funny because Mark loves nailing Dak. I knew you'd pick that up. Thank you, Marsh. I could see Marsh chuckling now. Hit the like button, guys. I appreciate it. Which is important in Vic's scheme? Linebackers. Correct. I'm not sure if Bobby King was a coordinator in the past. I'm not sure that. I thought he was outstanding in San Diego with the Chargers. Bobby King. I don't think so. He's really a great coach. Zach Bond, Kobe Dean. Before that, he was the inside linebackers coach in Tennessee. Oversaw the linebacking room, Tennessee. Paced the league in both rushing defense at 76-9. That's when that defense was top 3. Prior to that, played a pivotal role in the Texans' growth. Served as the Texans' inside linebacking coach. Here's where I saw him. 14-16 was an assistant coach in San Diego, where he worked alongside with Nick Sirianni during the 2015 season. Melvin Ingram had a great double-digit sack year that year and tied for 13th in sacks. He's a really good coach. Yes, and for the year, T.O. played. He went to the Super Bowl. The next year he got benched. Isn't it funny we were so shit at LB until Vic came around? Now it's one of our biggest strengths. Hey, Gabe, I don't think it's just Vic. I think it's Vic and Bobby King. D'Amico Ryans, too. That's right. He coached him. That's correct. I think Bobby King would get a shot at that and being the D coordinator. They might give it to Clint first because Clint's got experience in play calling. But I'd be good with Bobby King, man. 2024, they explored hiring Ron Rivera, Wink Martindale, Ryan Nielsen, Leslie Frazier, Jim Leonard, Jesse Minter, and also, too, don't forget, too, Forrest, the defensive coordinator for the Georgia Bulldogs. They also put in that conversation. So, again, Vic Fangio leaves next year. How about this? I can't wait to see how this offensive line looks. I will tell you. I can't wait to see how this O-line looks. Because if that offensive line doesn't come back to form, Eagles are toast for the next 3 years. Your window's shut. And your quarterback is not going to get any better. The key to the 2026 season is your O-line. It's not Hurts. It's not the style of play. It's the O-line. If that offensive line does not play and get back to decent, you're going nowhere. And your window's closed. If they bounce back, window's back open again. It's going to be depending on how high. But this whole thing comes down this offseason to your offensive line. Everything comes down to the O-line. The defense will be impacted. If you lead the NFL again for another year and 3 and outs, and you're one of the worst teams in 3 and outs, you think that defense is going to hold up again? Fell apart at the end of the year. And it fell apart in the playoffs. Eagles offensive line being held together by stem cells. Yeah, that's not a good take. Jim Johnson had 6 top 5 defenses in points allowed. Fangio had 4 in 25 years. Rasputin, who do you think's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Vic Fangio or Jim Johnson? Jim Johnson's not going to the Hall of Fame. He's not going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's not. Okay? He's not. Steve Spagnuolo's going to the Hall of Fame. 4 rings. Yeah. Well, I can promise you he's not. See, if they come out of training camp still trying to have Jalen run the West Coast offense, we're screwed. Fix our third down issues from 25% back to 30%, and we'll be fine. 30% on third down? Okay. Cam Jurgens is in Colombia getting his run. He's not getting his backs fixed. I like it, Prince. Vic's latest ring really cemented his legacy. Yeah, it did. That's what a ring will do. I'm not telling you Jim Johnson what. Jim Johnson's a great coordinator. He ain't Buddy Ryan. Shit, Jim Schwartz. Hey, Jim Schwartz has got a ring. Jim Schwartz had the number 1 defense in Cleveland. The dude had the number 1. Jim Schwartz is a fucking hell of a coordinator. I would put Jim Schwartz ahead of Jim Johnson. Jim Schwartz got a Super Bowl ring, number 1 defense in Cleveland, and he's done this all in the last 8 years. And he's doing it in the era of free agency. You guys are missing it. I mean, you're missing the boat here on that. I mean, there's no doubt. BS Cam is, dude, I got to tell you, I will say it one more time. I think he's in trouble. All right. So they're debating this in New York right now. And I want to throw this at you here. Boomer Esiason gave me this. Kayvon Thibodeau for A.J. Brown. Let's take a look at Kayvon Thibodeau. Straight up. Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau. Let's see what he's got here. For A.J. Brown, straight up. This is a WFAN beauty. Last year, he only played 10 games. Prior to that, so he's got 23 and a half sacks in 4 years. Finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year award. And he's 25 years of age. And they're most likely going to move him because of Abdul Carter. Kayvon Thibodeau. Malik Neighbors and A.J. Brown. I'm sorry, I'm not on Jackson Dart. I don't give a shit if you have Jerry Rice and Chris Carter. As long as Jackson Dart's the quarterback, I don't know. A.J. Brown could go to the New York Giants. They don't have an offensive line. The quarterback's going to be running for his life. Okay? Prince, I'm believing he's gone. I'm talking Brown. As a matter of fact, I think many of the deals are on the table right now for Howie. And they got to decide what they're going to do. I do think the money's an issue, but I think they can work around it. If AJ wants out enough, he'll restructure his contract before. It'll be a restructure and then move. If he wants out, he's got to help the Eagles. If he wants to go to New England, I'll tell you what I would do. If I was Howie Roseman, this is how I would move A.J. Brown. A.J., tell you what you have to do. You want to leave that bad, and you don't want to be here anymore. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Where do you want to go? I want to go to New England. I maybe want to go to Seattle. Maybe the Chargers with Justin Herbert. I want maybe Kansas City. Maybe Buffalo. All cool. You want to go to a winner. All right. Well, here's the problem with that. We're not going to get a gigantic draft choice back in return. Because all those teams you mentioned are winners. You're talking about the 32nd player taken in the second round, maybe. The 32nd player of the third round. Man, that's not helping us. So, what we're going to do is this. You got to restructure your contract. You've got to do and help us redo this deal before we move you. It'll be easier for us to move. You can't do this. I want to go here, here, and here, and then look at Howie and go, first off, does that make my team better moving him? Maybe in the long run and in the macro, it does because you're getting rid of a malcontent. And he doesn't want to be here. Think about this, guys. How do you make this deal move? Here, let me show you this. Somebody sent me this. Sure. NFL contract before trade. Okay. So here's how it has to work. I do this because people send me emails because I asked the question, can you restructure a contract before a trade? Okay. And this is how it works. NFL contracts can be restructured before a trade to facilitate a move, typically by converting base salary into signing bonus to reduce the team's cap hit or lower immediate cash burden on the acquiring team. This requires the player's consent and often involves extending the contract or adding void years. Did you hear me? Here's the mechanisms now for it. Key details regarding pre-trade restructures. Teams convert base or roster bonuses into signing bonuses, which is then prorated over the remaining years of the contract, which means this, however years that AJ has remaining, you could take that money that you were going to give him in a signing bonus and spread it out over 5 years. That's over the new CBA. So if you restructure the contract and say that number comes up to $35 million, well, you could do that over 5. And it's a less of a cap hit spread out. That's the new CBA. So when people were saying, you can't do this, yes, you can. People are held up on the money. I'm showing you how you can get around it. People are not telling you the entire facts. The contract makes it harder. No, it doesn't. If the player wants, now, this is all under the premise that Brown wants out. Okay? Hold on. This isn't me teaching you. This is the NFL Players Association sending me. Okay? You don't have to be an Einstein, Twiz. You just have to listen to what this is from the NFLPA. I'll say it again. This is not cap. By the way, dude, I know how this fucking works. NFL contracts can be restructured before a trade to facilitate the move, typically by converting base salary into a signing bonus to reduce the current team's cap hit. By the way, this is also from Drew Rosenhaus. Here are the mechanisms. Teams convert base or roster bonus into signing bonus, which is then prorated over the remaining years of the contract. Okay. You can add void years in a restructure, add 2 more void years to the current deal he has. Take the signing bonus that you converted, spread it out over that 5. Simple as that. So don't tell me you can't redo it. Players consent. A restructure is renegotiated requiring the player's agreement. Trade benefits. This maneuver can reduce a player's salary cap charge, making them more attractive to potential trading partners, as seen with the Eagles' use of option bonuses. This is what Drew sent me. Trade benefits. This maneuver can reduce a player's salary cap charge, making them more attractive to potential trading partners, as seen with the Eagles' use of option bonuses. Timing. While structures often happen in the offseason, they can be done prior to a trade to make the numbers work for both parties. Don't think right now both parties or 3 parties, the player and his agent and a team and multiple teams, are not negotiating this. How do we make this happen with the money? Okay? This can be done. I had people actually texting me and telling me this can't be done. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. You sound like Twiz. Okay? Hey, by the way, here's another one by Twiz. You want to be so right. It's only been 3 years for this. I'm not the only one saying they want to move him. And then he's going to be moved. They're going to move him. You think he's retiring an Eagle? You got your head up your ass, guy. You got your head up your ass. Alternative. Teams may also simply trade a player with the new team taking on a remaining contract, including future non-guaranteed base salaries. That they're not going to do. So I just showed you. This is without a doubt possible. Okay? Gunner said he ain't going anywhere. Gunner? Who's that? I forgot. Who's that guy again? AJ said he was going to retire an Eagle when he signed the new contract extension. But I call Cap. I hear you too. Only trade him outside the conference. Okay? New England, Kansas City, Chargers, New England, how about this? Jacksonville, too. Put him on the other side of Thomas, down there for Trevor Lawrence. How about trading him to Miami? And trading him down to Miami, they were not a playoff team. They just got rid of Tyreek Hill. Now, they're taking a shitload of money on. Okay? Well, I disagree. Okay? I disagree because I'm hearing his agent talking. I'll tell you what. Martez, we'll find out who's right here in about a month. Okay? Him or me. I also read that. It says they prefer not to move him. It didn't say he wasn't. He said he preferred not to move him. Is the grass greener elsewhere for AJ? Depending on what you think his goals are. If AJ Brown's goals are to make a ton of money and get a ton of numbers, it's absolutely worth it. Let me ask you something, Gabe. Here. Do you want to be Julian Edelman or Randy Moss? Gabe, do you want to be Julian Edelman or Randy Moss? Okay. Randy Moss doesn't have a Super Bowl. Julian Edelman has 3. And he has an MVP in the Super Bowl. I think AJ wants to be Randy Moss with a ring. Edelman doesn't have an NFL legacy that says he's one of the greatest players of all time. Edelman's not one of the greatest players of all time, and he's got an MVP. Is it Edelman or Amendola that's got the MVP? Julian Edelman. Is it him? I think it's him, right? He's got the MVP, right? Yeah. Julian Edelman's got 3 Super Bowl rings and a Super Bowl MVP. He's not one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. AJ wants to go down as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. Edelman will never. So I would be interested for trading for Thibodeau. This could be your D-line the next 3. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Kyle, look at that D-line. Davis, Carter, Thibodeau, Hunt. And Nolan Smith as your rotation specialty pass rusher. That looks awful good. I mean, that looks phenomenal. I'm with you. WFAN was throwing that around this morning. Kayvon Thibodeau straight up for AJ. I mean, I don't think that's bad. If Gary Anderson didn't miss his first field goal of the year in 97, Moss would probably have one. Is that when he was with the Vikings? When they got beat by the Falcons in the NFC title game? Rasputin, was that right? I think they were like 15-1, and they got beat by that Atlanta team. Oh, the Randall year. Yeah, but I think that was the 15-1 year, and they got beat by Atlanta and Dan Reeves' team in the NFC Championship game. Stop hating on. I'm not hating on anybody. All I said is, who are they? I'm not hating on anybody. Dude, honestly, I know just about everybody. Before I got here, I'd never heard of Derek Gunn. So Edelman maximizes potential working with Brady. AJ will never maximize his potential playing with Hurts. Correct, Bob. Correct. Dude, I really have no idea. I think I had him on the show twice. Other than that, I have no idea who he is. He's just some dude that started a podcast or something like that with his cat. I really don't know. I thought it was, and I was helping the kid out. Other than that, I really don't give a shit. Another dude in my 35 years of broadcasting. Sure. Okay. Okay. I hating on anybody. Paying 2 top DTs, 1 edge, and 2 DBs top dollar isn't sustainable. Why? You do that stuff on the other side. On offense, you're paying 2 offensive tackles north of $25 million. You're paying a guard 20. You're paying a center 20. You're paying a running back 20. You're paying a quarterback 50. Hollywood, you think that's sustainable? Dan Sileo, absolutely incredible. What an amazing show. Thank you very much. Your $20 is in the mail. Xander, get it to him. And Tibbs has potential. He's not a proven guy just like Hunt, not trading a proven commodity. Hey, Twiz, you're under the impression he wants to be here. How he always pays the trenches. That's what we've been so consistently good in the last 20 years. That's why my question to you about Stoutland. So when Stoutland now out of the building, you think your offensive line is going to maintain that same excellence? Brady, you think your old line's going to maintain that excellence? What a gamble. You know, it wouldn't shock me if this thing goes south, they rehire. You know what I would do if I was the new coach and Nick gets blown out? I'd beg Stoutland to come back. Let him take the year off. I'd bring his ass back, give him a pay raise. That'd be my first hire. Hey, Jeff Stoutland, you want to come back? I'd love to have you. Yeah, all the kids are out of the building now. Shows Howie has no issue trading inside the division. So let me ask you this, Bob. Didn't Howie trade on draft day with the Dallas Cowboys? Cowboys ended up getting Micah Parsons, and the Eagles got Devontae Smith. Didn't that happen between the Cowboys and the Eagles? Am I right to say that's how that happened? Right? Why? Wow. You're not trading AJ, even though the guy doesn't want to be here. I mean, I heard John McMullen say one of the coolest things this morning, or maybe it was yesterday. I want volunteers. Okay? I want volunteers to be on my team. I want guys who want to be here. I don't want to have guys that are compelled to be here because of whatever reason. That's not productive. I get this. How about here? How many people believe that A.J. Brown wants to be here? How many people believe that? When he's complained for 3 years about the offense. How many people believe he wants to be here? AJ wants to be as far away from Hurts as possible. He can go. That's what we're doing here. I showed you. Folks, don't get caught up in the money. That stuff can be worked out. You know, I contacted Rosenhaus and I contacted the NFL Players Association. Can you restructure a deal before a trade? Because I wasn't sure about that yesterday. Because I said that out loud. I said, absolutely. That's probably what they're talking about now. How about this one here? Do you think that Howie Roseman right now is taking calls as he prepares for the combines from other teams about A.J. Brown? Do you think they're taking calls right now? Sills, is it true that the Packers are trying for Pickens? I would say this to you. Remember something. Pickens is a free agent. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, have the Cowboys put that tag on him yet? How long is it do they have to put that? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks they have to decide? Okay, I think it's like, what is it, 10 days maybe? They have to put that tag on somebody? I don't think they have the assets. How many assets did they give away for the trade with Michael Parsons, though? I think you have 10 days to make that move. AJ to the Colts on the other side of Pittman. It's out of the division, out of the conference. Boy, I tell you, man, that make the Colts. The Colts were 6-1. They were. But what would you get back in a trade? Well, the Colts didn't make the playoffs, so you'd get a pretty sustainable pick. I think you get like a 12 or 13. That's not terrible. Seals, AJ would love to be here if we had Darnold or Mayfield at quarterback. AJ would love to be anywhere he's utilized and not as a decoy. Correct. That's why he wants out. He wants to feel engaged. Now, see, this makes sense. Let me also look at something else. Get out of space. 20 right now. Okay, NFL caps. Okay, here right now. Wow, the Titans only have $5 million in dead cap. The Eagles right now have $48 million in dead cap money. You have $50 million. Only way Browns moved is a restructure. You would take on another $40 million. The Eagles it'd be a $90 million cap hit that they would have in dead cap money. Here's the dead money. Raiders have 34. The Jets have 91 million. That's the Rodgers thing. The Eagles have 48 million. The Dolphins have 73. That's Tua. Saints are still in holy hell with 65 million. Sorry, Ash Wednesday. The Bills have 30. Excuse me. The Jags have 43. These are all, get this, these are all teams underwater right now in cap space. The Giants, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Packers, the Texans, the Bears, the Saints, the Lions, the Chiefs. Now, they just did 44 million. It created cap space of 44 million. They restructured Mahomes' deal. Right now, effectively cap space. The Titans have 103, Raiders 91, Chargers have 82. If A.J. Brown's going to be dealt anywhere, my bet would be the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Patriots have 40 right now in cap space. They could clearly fit him in. But the key would be, because the Eagles have 48 million. Right now, the Eagles have $13 million in cap space. They have 18 in total cap space, but effective cap space, which maneuvering cap space, is 13 million. Okay? So you get 13 million. How many players? 61 players. That's what that number represents. 49ers have numbers. They can move 40. Can you imagine A.J. Brown in San Francisco? Let me throw another guy at you as well. If you lose A.J. Brown and you're able to restructure, would you be open to having Mike Evans? Mike Evans still got some ball in him. And he told everyone this morning, I don't believe he's going back to Tampa Bay. I don't believe Evans is going back to Tampa. Okay? Mike played in 8 games. Still had 30 catches for 368. He was out a ton of the time. One of the only times that Mike Evans has really been hurt was this last year. And it wasn't a knee, it was a shoulder. He gets hurt. Okay. This is what Sue says about a guy getting hurt. He gets hurt. That Mike Evans gets hurt. Okay. Mike Evans. Let's take a look at that theory that Sue has. So Mike Evans, 15 games. Let's go back to the beginning. Mike Evans, 15 games and 14. 15 games and 15. 16 games and 16. 15 games and 17. 16 games and 18. 13 games and 19. 16 games and 20. 16 games and 21. 16 games and 22. 17 games and 23. 15 games and 24. Last year, he missed 9. This guy never gets hurt. He never gets hurt. Very rarely. And here's the years. 11 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards. 108 catches. He's 32 years old. 29, 30, 31. He's 3 years older than A.J. Brown. Mike Evans. Devontae Smith. Keep Goddard. And Saquon Barkley. How's that sound? You want to see young player development with that quarterback? You would take Dobbs, kid from the Packers. You think Dobbs is in the league? I still think that Mike Evans could be a 1,200-yard reception guy. Dolphins, Tyreek Hill release results. $28.2 million cap hit on the Dolphins in 26, but saved 22 in cap space. They're gonna probably have Forrest, did they post that June 1? They still got to carry that number, which means they're not going to get the draft, which means it's a release, so they got to carry that number to June. It's going to make it difficult for them to play free agency. See, Dobbs, I think Dobbs is okay. Mike Evans is a star. Evans would be having an off-field wide receiver coach who would help the young wide. Let me ask you this. That's a great take. Mike Evans is a spectacular teammate. I think you're right. I think Devontae Smith would benefit more from Mike Evans teaching. By the way, Mike Evans is a better ball player than A.J. Brown. Mike Evans is the modern day Larry Fitzgerald. Whatever you think of Larry Fitzgerald, I still think he's got. Hey, how about this? Let me show you something here. You say he's long in the tooth. Okay. I want to show you something. Here's Mike Evans. So Evans he did get hurt. Okay. First time he really got hurt. So let me go back here. Let me go games. And let me go what he did this past season here. Game splits. Game log. So when he came back, after he got hurt, the first game that he came back, he had 132 yards and 12 catches. Okay? And they fell apart offensively. After that, the play caller, everything, which was Josh Grizzard, by the way. By the way, add that. Josh Grizzard loves Mike Evans. Who's your pass game coordinator? This is why we're bringing it up. Okay? Who's your pass game coordinator? Is it Josh Grizzard? So if you lose AJ, you put Evans in there, Grizzard, the pass game coordinator, he's worked with him. Mike Evans gives you a solid vet presence himself. Tremendous teammate. I think he's got football left. I think also, too, he could help Devontae Smith and what Josh Grizzard and what the offense wants to try to instill in this passing game. By the way, him coming to Philly, I think Jalen Hurts would fall in love with Mike Evans. So, like, let's see. They do play in a shitload of domes in the NFC South. I'm not going to tell you you're a lie. Atlanta, New Orleans. Only place he plays outside in the South is Carolina, and it's true. Julio Jones, he's not Julio Jones. What I do like about this, Evans, he's a very situational wide receiver. By the way, you can move him anywhere around the line of scrimmage. He's not just positioned to a Y. You can move him everywhere. You can move him all around. Okay? Seals of Hurts can get the ball to AJ. What makes you think, if he can't get the ball to AJ, what makes you think he can get the ball to Evans? I still think you need a presence out there, Bob. AJ's presence, okay, helps the run game. Mike Evans' presence helps the run game. If you put another dude out there, it's like your third wideout. I don't care about him. You think the defensive coordinators care about the Eagles' number 3 wideout? They barely care about the tight end. That's why the tight end's opened a lot. Nobody gives a shit about him. Evans won't complain about targets because he's already solidified. Mike Evans already has, get this, Mike Evans already has 866 catches in his career and over 13,000 receiving yards and over 100 touchdowns. You think that guy's complaining about anything? He's not complaining about anything. Plus, if you restructure the contract, you could sign Evans for $15 million. Johnny Wilson would benefit. The whole entire wide receiving core would benefit. Yeah. Mike Evans were to retire today. He's the first ballot. Evans would just want another ring before. That's what he's looking for. Wow. And Reyes even likes it. And by the way, you could take that money that you restructure with AJ, take that money and sign Jalen Phillips with it. Now, AJ wants to leave. If AJ Brown wants to leave, you give the Eagles room to maneuver in signing Carter and Phillips and a guy like Evans. And you get better all around by signing 3 players that are instrumental. Here, I got another topic here. Before Xander comes aboard with us, Battle Royale 430. You think Howie makes another big move? You think he makes a big move in free agency or a trade? Free agency or a trade? Mike Evans would be a big move. Trade would be AJ. Free agency would be Evans. 15 to 17 million. Restructure that $30 million deal. Take the other 15 and drop some dough on it and pay your boy Carter or Jalen Phillips. Okay? Let's say you sign Evans this year and you can focus mainly on overhauling your O-line, then get your wideout next year. Absolutely. He's a gap. That's exactly correct, Kyle. You're not looking at signing Mike Evans to a 2-year contract at $40 million. You're going to sign him on a 1-year deal at about 20 with incentives. And you take that money. Again, this is all on AJ restructuring the move. If he wants out that bad. This is not catastrophic if AJ moves. I put Mike Evans in there. He's a stopgap for me to get to the draft next year. I could take that money, get Phillips signed, or I could use it for Carter or Davis. Or use some of that money for Dean. Jalen Phillips doesn't want to sign. Great. I'll take the money I'm saving with AJ, and I'll give it to Bradley Chubb. Okay? Either way, I'm good. They got a lot. A.J. Brown, you're right. A.J. not on the team. Does he make you worse? I think it depends on what you do. I said this before about the Michael Parsons Cowboy deal. I think the Cowboys are better today. I think they're better. Quinnen Williams is a tremendous football player. They got Clark in the middle. They stopped the bleeding in the run defense. They got to go in the draft to get another edge. Get him at a rookie deal. Okay. Maybe they sign Crosby. So how about this? You put Crosby and you put Quinnen Williams on the same D-line. The Cowboys are in business. They're in business. Remember something. You guys don't think the Cowboys are close. I think they're 2 players close. Here's why. Cowboys had the number 1 offense in pro football. They're going to tag Pickens. Okay? If they get that defense in 15th instead of 30th or 32nd, wherever they finished, if they're 15th, Cowboys are going to the playoffs. And they're going to be a contender. They had the best offense in pro football and the worst defense in pro football. And now listen, I'm not debating Dak in the postseason. I'm just telling you as a unit, they're better without Parsons. It's like telling me, well, the Giants are better without Barkley. Some of you actually think that, okay? Well, Dallas beat you, came back from 21 down. It's not the point. It's not the point. Brian Schottenheimer, he's all right, man. He's done a pretty good job. I think so, too. I think he's a good play caller. I do. I think Dak looked as good as he's looked probably in 4 years, 3 years. I agree. Seals, could they just want it to be moved around like CeeDee Lamb? That's not what he does, though, Martin. Martin, if you look at his pre-draft scouting report, it's really followed him almost to a T. Like, he doesn't do, like, they tried to use him in the slot, but they put DK Metcalf in the slot at Ole Miss. Metcalf was the guy that they moved around. AJ was the guy who was not moved around as much. I can't believe they had those 2 dudes on the team at the same time. And they didn't win an SEC championship. Now, those Bama and Georgia teams were special. They were special on both sides of the ball. Okay? Purdy owns your dual threat. I think Brock Purdy's a hell of a player in the pocket. I actually like the quarterback. He just gets hurt and he's kind of small. So how many Super Bowls has Purdy won? How many All-Pros or Pro Bowls? I know this. He's 2-1 against the Eagles, I believe. Is he? Let's see, 1, 2. He's 2-1 versus you. Same as Justin Herbert. You guys keep telling me about how you're like Nick Sirianni has like this winning record against Sean McVay. Brock Purdy has a winning record versus the Eagles too. And so does Justin Herbert. I don't really think that means shit either. Okay? Seals, the more I think about this AJ situation, the more I want him in Philly. If he doesn't want to be here because he plays like he didn't want to be here at the end of the season, Mike, I don't. But you know what I tell you, what I think he's doing now? Okay? It's pretty smart. And he gets it. Did you see that thing he did on his social medias? Making sure that when he was trying to sell his football camp, he was in an Eagle uniform. He goes on a podcast saying he wants to be in Philly. Why would he do that? Why would he? He's looking to make sure that the Eagles told him, if you want to be traded and you really want out of here, don't diminish your trade value by doing something stupid. Because the minute you do something stupid, we're not going to be apt to do what you want. We're going to do what's in the best. They're going to do what's in the best interest of the Eagles. A.J. Brown has been a great Eagle. And you owe him, if he does it right, you owe him a chance to land someplace cool. However, he starts being a dick. Dude, I'll put your ass in Cleveland. And not think about it. Drew, and get this. Agents know this. Don't be a jackass right now. Don't diminish your value. If you're a guy that's going to be dealt and you really want out, he's got to be cool and he's got to also have a public perception. Everything's dope. I don't know what's going on. Hey, haven't you learned anything about the Nick Castellanos deal? Don't believe any of these people who are reporting on your teams. They don't do their jobs. How in the world could you ever believe anything out of Philadelphia media ever again? Honest to God. Anybody who covers those teams, I think it was an indictment on the Philadelphia media. You knew that the guy was drinking beers and shit in the dugout, and you waited till after the fact because the Phillies told you not to report on it? That shit goes on with the Eagles too. I don't believe anything in the Philadelphia media. Any of those radio stations, they're not telling you the truth. You think they're telling you the truth? You know how many people believe those places? I wouldn't believe a word they said. How in God's name would you believe WIP? You hear what Angelo, he texted me last night. He goes, this is the bigger story than you think. Those people aren't doing their jobs anymore. By the way, to Xander's point, fuck Nick Castellanos. Agreed. That's not my point. My point is do your job. They don't do it. You know why? These professional teams, they got you by the short hairs. That's what they got you by. Hey, you want to come into the building? Make sure you report on what we tell you. All right. I'll tell you, it is convention time for the Philadelphia Eagles and for the NFL teams. So let me show you something here before you bring Xander in. Yesterday, Derek Gilmore, the agent of Mike Evans, went out publicly and said Mike Evans is returning for the 2026 season. What was missing and why did he do that? Anybody know? I'll tell you. We're open for business. We're going to the combines. We're going to the highest bidder. We're going to the team that gives us the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Because if he and Jason Light had agreed, here's what I'm being told. Jason Light and Derek Gilmore, the agent, met prior to that statement being released. You know what the Bucs told them? We're not there. We are not there. Okay? I can't tell you, Z. I'll get you up here in a sec. So, how about this? As they get ready to go to the combines in Indianapolis, Mike Evans's people are saying this: we're open for business. Who wants us? Because if the Buccaneers had made that decision, you would have saw this yesterday. We're proud to announce in 2027, Mike Evans is coming back and he's playing for the Bucs. That's not what was said. That was omitted. Why? Because the Buccaneers and the Glazers said, no, we got other holes. Okay? They got other holes. They got to fix that defense. They're not a Super Bowl contending team. All right? So the Bucs told Mike Evans, Sills, the 49ers couldn't keep Bosa, Armstead, and Buckner together. So the Eagles are different? Yeah, you know why? Because the Eagles do a better job of managing their cap. Sills, we haven't had as many coaching changes as other teams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to his point, they've changed 12 coaches. 12 coaches. Okay? So you changed your offense and you lost Christian Parker to the Cowboys. That's a tough hit. But in many ways, he's right. Baltimore changed their entire staff and head coach. Buffalo changed their entire staff and head coach. There's been like a ton of coordinating changes defensively and offensively. My take would be this, though, that the football team that's had the most success over the last 4 years has been the Philadelphia Eagles. For them to change their coaching staff and offensive coaching staff the way they did, I think that is a pretty big change. For being 50-18, winning 11 games, back-to-back NFC East champions, you change the coaching staff. All right. That looks way better, Z. All right. A lot of news. And we're going to start it out here with this. Okay. So, yeah, I want to go here. So how confident are you in this offseason here with Nick? And I want to get to some of these topics here. I'm going to bring Z in here in a second here and say this. Jeff Stoutland's departure, what impact will it have on future offensive lines as we move forward, in your opinion? Without further ado, let's bring our friend in. Big C, Xander Krause. He joins us now here on the...
What's up, Sills? How you doing, brother?
What's going on, brother? You look good,
Not
dude.
much, man.
You look good.
How's my setup? I did a different setup today. All right, good.
Looks great.
I've been trying to fix the internet. What's going on, bro? Ash Wednesday. I got my ashes. They're looking pretty good. I think the priest did a good job today with the cross. So I hope everybody's having a good Ash Wednesday. And yesterday was Fat Tuesday. I went to Altamonte's, which is an Italian deli in Doylestown, and I got cannolis. They're freshly made every day. All right, I got a pistachio baguette type of thing that was like, oh my God, it was unbelievable. And a bunch more shit, and I ate it all night, and now I'm going to be on a Lent, no more sugar, none of that crap for me in Lent. So I ate good last night, brother.
How about this? Let me ask you about the cannoli. It's all in the shell, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
how was the shell?
Altamonte's. This is a real.
Okay.
When you're in there, it's all paisans. That's a real Italian place. It's not like
so there's not an Irishman in there like cooking Italian food.
And if they are, it's because they're wishing they were Italians.
All right, Z, let me start some questions out here for you, bro. Jeff Stoutland's departure What impact do you think it has on future Eagle O-lines?
I think a big impact. It's one of my number one concerns. I mean, if you think about it, Sills, we're about to draft some O linemen here. All right. And for I'd say 10 plus years, Jeff's been here longer than that, but until he really had the type of trust and confidence of the team, um, 10 plus years, Sills, we've never doubted. When you draft an offensive lineman, if that offensive lineman is good, then the Eagles are going to get the most out of that offensive lineman. Now I think that's a question. You don't know that to be true. I mean, I certainly don't know that with Chris Cooper. Definitely not. Now, I don't know what Chris Cooper could be. Maybe he could be a decent, coach, but he certainly doesn't have the pedigree or the track record, and he doesn't inspire the confidence that Jeff Stoutland inspired. I mean, I kid you not, Sills. Most of the end, and I think this is where Eagle fans might struggle with learning this, and I'm in the same boat. Offensive line is maybe the number one problem in the NFL for every team, maybe more so than quarterback, is offensive lines. We don't live like that in Philly. We haven't lived like that in Philly. So this is a big change here, and I don't know if we draft Caden Proctor in round one. He could be good, but are we sure we're going to get the most out of him? I'm not anymore. So I think it's a big thing to watch, dude. I really think it's a big deal.
How many more years do you think Vic Fangio has coaching this defense?
One.
Okay.
I think this is his last year.
1 year. That leads me to this. When Fangio leaves, are you concerned that this defense collapses again?
Oh, yeah. But, the one thing I think that's going – look, that's going to be a concern anytime you lose a great – you know what I mean? The coaches – where the Patriots concerned when Belichick,
this would be in 2 years. You lose Stoutland and Vic.
Wow. Yeah, right. It's a big deal. But what I'm hopeful for, or where I will remain optimistic, is you do have young, impressionable players on that defense. And Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, they started their career with Vic Fangio. Zach Bond became a great player with Vic Fangio. This is why I don't want to let Nakobe Dean go. You're going to let Nakobe Dean go. That's the guy who will bridge the gap. Not Zach Bond. Zach Bond will be gone. So, but I do think you have a lot of young guys. You got Jalen and Jordan Davis. I mean, there's a clip of Jordan Davis. I'm not sure who's seen it, but I don't know if it was the Hard Knocks or when it was put out, but Jordan Davis is on the side of the practice field, and he walks up to Vic Fangio and basically is jokeful with him, but he tells him like how much Vic means to him. You basically changed my life as a player. So you have these young players that hopefully are impressionable and hopefully have learned a lot from Vic Fangio and can steady the waters for when he leaves. But when you lose a coach, as good as Vic Fangio, it's going to be tough to replace. There's no doubt. That's part of what makes, great people, great coaches, great players aren't easy to replace.
I want to show you something here. And I want to tell you if this moves your needle at all in AJ being here or not. So I asked Drew Rosenhaus if you could move and restructure contracts prior to being traded. He wrote me back this. NFL contract can be restructured before a trade to facilitate the move, typically by converting base salary into signing bonus to reduce the current team's cap hit or lower the immediate cash burden on the acquiring team. This requires, of course, the player's consent and often involves extending the contract or by adding, like Howie does, void years. Mechanisms. Teams convert base salary to roster bonus into a signing bonus. You could spread that out as many as 5 years, Sills. Player consent. He's got to be able to have the okay of the player to form this agreement. Trade benefits. He said, Dan, this maneuver can reduce a player's salary cap charge, making them more attractive for potential trading partners, as seen what Howie does when he uses the option bonus. Howie's notorious for doing that when he moves a guy. Timing. While restructures often happen in the offseason, they can also be done immediately prior to a trade to make the numbers work for both parties. Has that moved at all that you can make that cap number and all those things we were talking about yesterday a less of a factor on your football team to move him, if indeed that's what has to happen here. Does that move it in your percentage now that you know you could defer this money out now and it won't be a direct cap hit on you?
Yeah, but the problem with that is that Philly already has a lot of money deferred out. And
$48 million.
And it's not the problem is not the money deferred out. The problem is if you run into a problem like this. You know, the way Howie Roseman does contracts, it works really well. But if you mess up the evaluation, or you sign the wrong player, or your player in the peak of their contract year wants out, that's when that's when it gets a lot more muddy. If you sign all the right guys, and AJ and Devontae and Jalen and everybody, and it all works, and the great players are keep being great, and you keep signing them to extend. I mean, think about it. AJ Brown got an extension after 2 years of a 4-year deal. That's like unheard of.
Yeah.
But that's because they identified, all right, it's a great player. We're going to keep him here. Let's get the signing bonus to him now and kick that cap out so we're going to be able to open ourselves up. It worked. But the second AJ wants out, all of a sudden that contract is a lot harder to move on from. So, you know, a big part of the way they do business is really making the right decisions. So it's a big hurdle, you know, and this I think would throw a wrench in how they're doing contracts, and certainly would throw a wrench in maybe the Carter deal, the Davis deal, the Jalen Phillips deal. I mean, Sills, I gave the 3 names this morning. Even if you want to be conservative, you know, forget even being liberal. Jalen Phillips, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter, they're going to add up, what, 30, 35, 25, and 15, that or 20. I think it's 20 for Jordan, plus 25 for Jalen Phillips. That's 45. Plus, let's call it 30 for
Carter.
That's $75 million, brother.
And one off.
I mean, in one off season. Now, I don't think they're going to pay all 3 of them this. Yeah, right, on defense. So it's going to get interesting. I do not think, unfortunately, this is the year to move on from AJ Brown. I really don't. Now, maybe they could make it happen, but
okay. So I believe on March 17th, Lane Johnson's owed $9 million.
Yeah, Lane's a big cap hit, dude. I think he's bigger than $9 million.
I thought it was a bonus. He was owed $9 million.
Well, yeah, it's probably structured that it's not a crazy hit, but I mean, look, let me see.
I don't know what the hit is. I just know he's got a bonus coming up here in about 10 days.
Okay, yeah, well, that's relevant because you'll probably know it's already kind of been reported that he is going to come back. I don't think it's confirmed yet. I haven't heard it from the man himself, but I think he'll be back.
So you're cool with that, right?
Yeah. Assuming he comes back, I am.
My question will be what type of Lane you get back.
Yeah,
it's not whether I want him. I don't want him back. It's that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. What do you think the future of the tush push is?
Done. It's got to be done. I mean, you have 2 offensive linemen right now who are, let's just be accurate, Cam Jurgens' age. One is 26 and one is 27. And both of them look like they're 32-year-old players.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, and I don't say that as a knock on them. That's legitimately how much of a beating.
Road wear.
Right, good word, road wear. And still, these were not Joe Schmo offensive linemen. These were very good offensive linemen. Very good. Top of the top. And they're Yep. I mean, I think you got to retire it, man. I don't see the purpose of doing this to the O-line. You know, Jason Kelsey's on record. He said it took years off my career. It takes years off people's careers, especially offensive linemen. So I would shelf it, man. You know, the other thing is that where I agree with John is I think they're going to be pretty successful with a regular quarterback sneak. I mean, before the tush push was invented, Sills, they were one of the best quarterback sneak teams in football with Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz was 26-29 on attempts. He was very successful.
And Jalen is a beast when it comes to the lower body strength. I mean, I think you're gonna be fine without it, but I would shelf it. I really would. I wouldn't run that anyway. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't want them to ban it, Senor, to answer. I don't think they need to ban your play. But this is a good example of why banning it was always stupid to begin with. Because the NFL will
It would
correct
wear
itself.
out.
Yeah. Well, either defenses pick up on it or what you're seeing is happening, that it ultimately costs the Eagles more than it cost our opponents.
That's right.
So, it handles itself.
You know what, though? That tush push got me into 2 Super Bowls and won one of them. And if it cost me 2 linemen, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, but here's where I push back. Really? Is the tush push what got you to the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
There
were a lot of touchdowns in there, boss.
Dude, that was not the reason you got to the Super Bowl.
When you start out every series 1st and 9, that shit adds up, dude. I mean, listen, I agree with you. That's not the only reason, but that's an intimidating thing, bro. When you got something that in short yardage, you're getting it. How does this sound to you? Close your eyes for a second. Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay.
Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis. Jalix Hunt. Nolan Smith Swing. Zach Bond. Jahad Campbell and Jacoby as a front 7. How's that sound?
It sounds okay. It sounds marginally better. Maybe not even as good as Jalen Phillips in that group. So so now you want to let Phillips walk, waste of a 3rd round pick for half a season.
Mm-hmm.
You want to trade AJ Brown, and you want to bring in an as expensive Kayvon Thibodeau for more draft capital.
Well, you were under.
That's one of the worst moves I've ever heard.
Hold on for a second. Well, this may come down on Howie anyway as a bad move with Phillips.
What a shit move, Sil.
Well, how about this?
You better cover up that Robustelli jersey because people are going to start wondering if you're a double agent.
Wait a second here. Let me ask you this, though. If that guy Phillips doesn't get signed, you wasted a 3rd rounder on what, 9 games?
Well, if you let him walk anyway, you're still wasting it. Now you're trading AJ Brown for a lesser player.
You're never going to get the value anyway. A lesser player? I'm trying to get. Well, I would have to get something back in return.
Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau is not enough.
Kayvon Thibodeau in a 3. What do you think? Kayvon Thibodeau in a 3?
I just is Kayvon he's okay. He was the 5th overall draft pick. He hasn't lived up to it a single year of his career.
I heard you 2 guys talking.
In fact, they even drafted Abdul Carter.
Fucking Jalen Phillips for $23 million. You're never going there.
Who's not going there?
Howie ain't going $23 million for that Phillips kid.
Howie's going wherever. Well, maybe.
He'd rather go Bradley Chubb for 12 and get the same dude.
But Bradley Chubb's a 1-year deal.
Okay. And he's a free agent.
Dude, are you corrupting us? You want another Band-Aid?
Wait. But he's a free agent. It's not going to cost you any assets.
Dude, Sills. My blinker is on. Blinker is on, Sills.
I don't know what anybody thought that they were going to sign Jalen Phillips with some sort of deal. I never thought he was coming back.
What they send a 3rd round pick for him then? That's a big pick. John broke the best point on that. He said, you know what's unlike Howie? Forget paying the guy for a second. What's unlike Howie is wasting a 3rd round pick on 9 games.
Well, wait a second. What'd you give up for that guy, Ja'Cory, that guy Bennett? What was the pick you gave up for that guy?
We didn't give up a pick for him. We gave up.
I thought you traded for him.
We gave up Thomas Booker.
And I thought you got something in return for him.
I don't remember exactly the deal. I can look it up. Give me a second.
I thought it was a 5th. I don't think it was a 3rd.
I thought we gave up Thomas Booker, didn't we?
Yeah, but I thought it was Booker in a number. I may be wrong.
Geez, that would be a bad trade. I mean, it's already a bad trade. Ja'Cory and Bennett trade.
Okay.
No, it was a player for player.
Player for player. Okay, I thought it was. Okay. Yeah. Now here, I'm not paying that guy $23 million. I don't think he's worth it.
I agree with you, but this is my question. $23 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what is the alternative? So, like, if you're saying he's worth 18 and you don't want to give him 23, are the hoops that you're going to have to go through to replace the player to save $5 million, are they worth the hoops? I don't know. I really don't know. I
Well,
get
who
it.
else do I
23
have to
sounds
pay?
rich, but
Well, who else do I have to pay? Because who else I have to pay else dictates. If I didn't have to pay anybody else, 23 is not a big deal.
yeah, but where are you going to get the other edge to replace him if he walks? That's my biggest thing with him. It's not even about that I don't want to lose Phillips. I don't think Phillips is irreplaceable.
Hey,
But
Joe, you don't really believe Jalen Phillips is a better football player than Max Crosby, do you?
no, 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 no. That was crazy comment by John. That was a wild
No,
comment by John.
he's fucking really a great player. He's an
Max
effort
Crosby
guy.
is a damn good player.
He
Right?
ain't getting $35 million because he gets 9 sacks. He had 10 sacks last year. He's there because he's a really good ball player, dude. I mean, that guy can play. Man, how about this? How about this? You put a guy like Max Crosby on the defensive line with Quinnen Williams in Dallas. Dallas has got something.
Yeah, but this is my problem with that for Dallas. You had that.
Yeah,
Now
but
you didn't have Quinnen.
No, but I get Quinnen and that dude at $6 million cheaper annually.
All right. So what would that look like then for Dallas? Because Dallas they got 2 first-round picks for Micah, and then
they'd send one of the Green Bay picks probably to the Raiders.
So they used one for Quinnen, and they would use the other one for Max Crosby.
Yep.
So instead of having Micah, you'd have Quinnen Williams and Max Crosby,
and that other
$6 million of savings,
and that other guy and Clark
and Kenny Clark, and who's the other guy?
The kid who's making 20. What's his name?
Oh yeah, but they didn't. He wasn't in a trade. I'm looking at strictly the trade.
Oh no, yeah. That's a pretty good front seven, dude. They still need help at linebacker.
Yeah, and that's not a bad return for Michael Parsons. I mean, if you get Max Crosby, Max Crosby's 28. I think he's got at least 3 good years left. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, the thing with Max that's interesting is he did peak in 23, and he hasn't played as well. He is with the Raiders. There's some caveats and some context there, but that would actually, I mean, shit, it'd be hard to criticize that move for Dallas if they turn Micah into Max, Quinnen. Do they have any extra picks? No, right? They only got the 2 first.
Yeah,
Do they get like a 3rd or a 4th or anything?
What if they bring in Kobe then too?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually think they're gonna. Like, I think if Nakobe doesn't sign in Philly, my prediction is that it's in Dallas.
He follows Parker to Dallas?
Yep. I hope not.
Man, so
I'm of the belief that Nakobe Dean is a phenomenal football player. I really am.
Don't you agree that if Dallas is not 32 and they're 15 in total defense, Dallas can make it to a divisional round? Keeping Pickens, having CD.
Yeah, but here's the thing with Dallas, and this is where I'll give them credit, and people hate when I give them credit, but I prefer to be objective and real. This is where Philly 500 is right. Like, in theory, if Dallas fixed the defense, yeah, they'd be a playoff contender. But I have legitimately zero evidence. They didn't have shitty defenses every single year of Dak Prescott's campaign. No, they did not. They don't win in the big moments, dude. So until they prove me otherwise, it's hard for me to. I mean, they could do all the moves on defense that make them look perennial, but it's hard for me to buy in until I see it. Now, I do think they're going to be a wicked good offense again.
I don't disagree with anything you said there. Do you think Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold have changed narratives on how they have played the last 3 years in their careers? So do you think it's possible for quarterbacks to change a narrative?
Yeah, and I think Dak is a prime candidate for that. I don't think that – see, where I disagree with Philly and others is I don't think Dak is the number one problem. Like, I don't think when you look at the lack of playoff success, I don't think Dak is the number one problem in that. Is he a part of it? Absolutely.
Yes.
You're the quarterback. You have to wear that. Yes, you wear that crown, no matter if you like it or if you don't, or if it's true or if it's not. You do. But I think if that, remember what people used to say about Stafford?
Yeah.
Now he's elite. Now he's
He
one
was
of the best in the game.
0-4.
Now he's a Hall of Famer.
He was 0-4 in Detroit.
Right. So, I think that can be changed very quick. Yeah. But I got to see it a little bit from that Dallas team. Remember, it's not just Dak, dude. It's the Joneses. It's keeping up with the cheerleader. I mean, that's an ordeal, that place.
I'll tell you what, though, too. John Elway was 0-3 in Super Bowls, and that changed even for him when he won the final 2 Super Bowls. Do you think Howie Roseman is going to make a splash in free agency, or do you think he's going to make a trade? Which one do you think is more? Which do you think is more possible? A splash in a trade or a splash in free agency?
Trade. Now, I will say that it's both of them kind of feel unlikely right now, because they don't have that many draft picks. Now, I could see like a trade up, something like that.
On draft.
If you're talking about like taking one of their picks, I could see like a 2027 pick being sent. But this year's picks, they don't have that many. I don't know how liberal Howie's going to be with sending those suckers out. He likes his draft picks. He always has. So I don't know. And then you look at free agency, and it's like, here's the thing with free agency for me this year. Outside of cornerback 2, and if Reed walks a safety, and look, we don't know yet because we have to see who leaves, but I don't really see the glare. Yeah, but in my head, I think Phillips is going to be back.
Okay.
So if let's just say, for the sake of the argument, if Phillips is back, where do you think they need to make the big splash in free agency?
Corner.
But it probably wouldn't be a splash, right? It'd probably be like a better version of a Dory Jackson, like maybe a 1 or 2 year guy for 8 to 10 mil, an Isaiah Rodgers type of deal.
Jamel Dean.
I like that, actually.
Jamel Dean played Pro Bowl football last year.
And how's he line up in the Fangio defense?
Man, well, he played in he plays in the Todd Bowles defense.
Yeah.
And that's almost a carbon copy. It's a Tampa 2. You put Jamel Dean on the other side of Quinton Mitchell, your defense will be in the top 5.
He's 29 years old.
They
Not
made
bad.
him. Here's what I'll tell you.
And what do you think his value is going to be this summer? Because that's actually a good name. I actually like that name.
Okay, put that in the chart and see what his street.
Let me
value
put that. Let me put that.
Let me tell you what he did. Jason Light was playing fucking politics because that guy Benjamin Morrison. They made him take an $8.5 million pay cut. You know what he said? Fine, whack the final year of my deal. He played Pro Bowl ball. He got.
Oh yeah, they voided it.
They voided it. He's now going to be a free agent. He's one of the highest rated guys. So he might be a pricey dude. I don't know.
It says the market value right now, not a perfect number, but is 12.5 average annual.
Okay.
Market value would be 3-year, $37 million deal.
Dude,
feels a little rich for me with 2 first-round corners on the team.
Well, one's a slot. I'm talking about getting it.
No, there's a spot for him, but I don't know about. I mean, asset allocation is more what I'm looking at here.
Well, here, you move off Phillips, you sign Chubb, you put him out there. There's your 23.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't you get better in the masses?
You sound like you don't want to pay Jalen Phillips.
I want him on the football team bad, and I'd love the guy. You know I do.
But you don't want you don't like the number.
I know Drew Rosenhaus. It's not Phillips. I believe Jalen Phillips wants to play in Philadelphia and for Vic Fangio, but you know what he's going to do? He's going to tell him, we're getting the best deal for you and your family. You get hurt sometimes. You've missed some games in your career. I'm getting you the best deal possible.
Especially a guy with 2 big injuries.
That's correct. He's going to put it out there for him. Hey, listen, you want to stay in Philly? You can play 3-4 years there, and they love you and want you. Or you can go to Tennessee and sign for $24 million, $24.5, and get a bag of money up front and Everything said and done, you made your money. What do you want to do? And Drew's notorious for that, dude. I know the agent. It's not really the player. I know the agent.
Right.
Okay? What'd you make of my Mike Evans conversation?
About what refresh me. I was doing some
All
shit.
right. I said this about Evans. Mike Evans' agent, Derek Gilmore, came out yesterday and said Mike wants to come back and he wants to play. And he believes, I think Mike's got at least 2 years left in the tank where I think he's a really good player. Is he Mike Evans of a couple years ago? Obviously not. But do I think this guy, is he Julio Jones? No, not that. Remember, you hurt a shoulder, not a knee or an ankle or a foot, what have you. He wants to play. My question would be, let's say you lose AJ. You need a presence out there. You can't just sign a dude. You got to cover Mike Evans.
What do you think his market value is? Because I don't hate the idea at all.
Okay. Now, would you be willing to pay $20 million for that?
No.
Even if AJ redoes his deal so they can – you're
saving
12. Now, this is all –
feels rich to me.
This is all – well, dude, if people were talking about moving off AJ – you got to put a presence out there.
You got to. I agree. This is what I agree with you. You're not going to replace him with a draft pick.
No, I'm not fearing
the market value. It says, and I think this is way too low, but is 13.3. I think that's low. I think he's going to be 16. Plus.
I think he's going to be like 15, 16, 17. Would you do it around that number? Remember, the cap's going up a lot, dude.
Yeah, I'd probably consider.
This is if you move off him.
Do you think he's a fit here? And then what kind of injury concerns do you have with him? Because if I recall, he's got some.
No,
he missed. Well, I know. Yeah, he had the collar. He doesn't miss many games.
Look at it.
He missed 1 week in 2021 with COVID. He missed 2 weeks in 2019 with a hamstring.
Oh.
And last year he missed, I think, 7 weeks with the collarbone.
Because he hurt his collarbone.
Broke the collarbone.
He's a very healthy guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't miss
anything. Senor, do you try and always be this dumb? Mike Evans gets hurt. This guy's got a crazy career of not getting hurt. 12 years in the league, he's got a list of 3 injuries, and 2 of them are 1 week long.
And one was a shoulder, not a knee.
I mean, come on, Senor.
He has a history. You mean he has a history?
Senor?
He has a history of production. That's what he has a hit. By the way, if Mike Evans called it a career today, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Don't you want? If you're replacing AJ, I'm replacing him with a presence. And by the way,
I agree with you on that perspective for sure.
AJ Brown with Devontae Smith, bro. You imagine the impact he would have on all your young wideouts too, that you would bring in. Dude, he's a great locker room guy. He's not going to bitch about targets. You know why? Fucking this guy, he's got all his targets. He's got all his numbers. He's got all of his records. He's got 100 catches. Yeah. And at the end of the day, guess what?
He wants to win.
He wants one more ring. That's what Derek Gilmore told me. He wants to win. He asked me, what do you think Philly would do?
Now, here's the question. Here's another. All right, so on that, he wants to win again. And this is a big question, and I think everybody should think about this if you're listening. For somebody that wants to win, a year ago, this wasn't a question. If you wanted to win, coming to Philly was a great option.
Yep.
And that was widely believed across the league.
Yep.
Do you think that belief still exists? I do, but I'm asking the question.
If I'm AJ Brown, winning is not enough anymore. Legacy's more.
Yeah, but for Mike Evans, who wants to win, that's not what I asked. I asked if you're a guy who wants to win.
Yeah.
Forget the legacy. Is Philly still a marquee spot? Or do you think Mike looks and says, I don't know, man, that's a whole new offensive staff. They've really struggled on that team. I think their best days are behind them.
Really? Well, who's the new passing coordinator again?
Josh Grizzo. Oh.
Where was he last?
Did Mike like Josh?
Loved him. Never thought he was the problem. Never thought he was the problem. Remember, Mike Evans was running off the field after Atlanta and said this, 3rd and 28. 3rd and 28. Defense gave a 3rd and 28 up, or they win Atlanta, they win the South. Mike was pissed at the defense. He wasn't pissed at the offense.
All right.
Josh Grizzard, if he had played a full season, Mike would have got 1,200 yards this year. Okay? He would have. He would have had another 1,000 yards. He would have broke Rice's record. I think he's got here. I'll make a is he as good as Devontae Adams?
No, not talent, not like upside wise, but stability wise. I mean, you can make that case. He's like the steady Eddie, you know. Devontae had higher peaks for sure.
I don't think he's as good as Devontae.
No, dude, Devontae Adams is wicked good. Devontae Adams in his prime is one of my favorite receivers.
I think you're dismissing how good Mike Evans is.
No, I'm not. I know how good he is, but Devontae Adams is pretty fucking good, dude.
He is. I mean, I think he's a more skilled guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's a more skilled guy. Doesn't mean he's been more successful, which he's probably has, but
okay, rank these decisions that Howie has. Jalen Phillips, Kobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts.
Very Hurtsy in there. You threw Hurtsy boy in there.
I added that.
I saw it. I could see it on your face. You're like, "Ooh, I got it."
I had to add that. I had to put that in there. I
got a couple extra dry leaves to throw on the fire.
There you go.
Dry twigs. Rank them in terms of what?
Importance. This offseason.
AJ's got to be 1.
AJ.
Jalen Phillips got to be 2. Too hard to replace. Very hard to replace, I think, Jalen Phillips. Is probably the biggest thing. 3 is the quarterback. Because if you don't do the quarterback deal this summer, it's not that anything. No, there's no alarm sounded. But I think it does put a small. All right, the Eagles are in wait and see mode on Jalen, and I think that's a little bit of a sign.
Well,
4,
I think that's an alarm.
4, I would say. Reed, simply because you don't have the replacement right now.
Okay, I think he's the most replaceable guy in your football team.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't have it. Like, Nakobe's tough to replace, but you do have Jahad Campbell. That's where I'm like, if Reed does go, you got to make a move. You got to figure something out.
You got Goddard last.
Yeah, I probably should have had Goddard a little higher here. I did this off the top of my head. I'd probably lower Hurts a little bit. Maybe put Goddard and Reed above him. But that would make Hurts the last thing.
I think Hurts is the last thing.
Yeah, maybe he is. Yeah, but I think there's ripple effects of no deal for Hurts.
But wait, this is the Brady factor. Brady was always the last thing in New England. He was never the top thing. And this is how they won games. Remember, Xander, Tom Brady never was the highest paid player in the history of the NFL in New England. He only got his money in Tampa. When he signed that $44 million deal, he got his money in Tampa. He was never the highest paid guy. And it afforded New England and Caserio and Pioli all that lateral move, be able to move guys around and build the football team. Hurts' strength that he has right now, and you know what his value is? His deal. His contract is his value because he's not demanding a new contract. He's not demanding restructuring. They're not even off. Get this. What's crazy is the Eagles aren't even offering it. And you know what I think that has a lot to do with? Bro, when you have a no trade clause in your contract, this is what makes Bryce Harper, as Angelo said, a pussy. You know what makes
gosh, I don't even want to think.
You know what makes him so awful is that bro, when Dave Dombrowski was talking about, he never went down the lane of trading him because Bryce has a no trade in his deal. Not trading him. I mean, by the way, the Philadelphia media not covering the Nick Castellanos deal, now they're piling on. Castellanos is a dick. Okay, great. You should have reported it at the beginning that he was a dick, not after the fact.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Give me a break, man. All right.
It's literally ridiculous.
Doesn't it show you how the media now is controlled by these teams?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I've known this for quite a bit now.
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Do you think they give any one of those guys money? And I'm going to tell you before you answer. I don't believe they're going to redo any of their contracts this offseason.
Davis or Carter?
Yep.
Nah, you're wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong. One of them has to come.
All right.
And I got news. If you get the week one and Jordan Davis isn't signed, you could probably kiss Jordan Davis goodbye at the end of the year.
And you think somebody will give him a $20 million deal for a guy who plays first and second down?
I think there's a lot of dumb teams in the league, and somebody's going to give him cash. Hey, you balked at me yesterday when I said 15. Now you're making the case.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I'm saying,
on the freaking seesaw at the local park.
Hold on here, man. I don't. Okay. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. So, isn't this the time frame you guys did that Zach Bond deal?
Yeah, but he was a 1 year. He was a 1 year prove it deal before the year, so that was a different situation.
Okay. So, am I right when I say this? Then correct me if I'm wrong. Jordan Davis is going to go into this year if they don't redo the deal, and he's going into his 5th-year deal in 27.
This is his 5th year.
This is his 5th
year. Yeah, this was right now.
Okay.
26.
So he's basically on a 1-year deal.
He is, but you can't just leave out the con. He's a first-round draft pick.
Okay,
if you don't give somebody an extension, though, it's different than signing Zach Bond from the Saints.
What I'm saying is, if they don't address it now, at the end of the 26th season, he's a free agent this time next year.
Yeah, but why would he do the deal that Zach Bond did? Zach Bond didn't have to sign 10 days before free agency.
No. Before the new year starts, I'm saying that's when he signed, before the new year started.
But why do you think Jordan Davis would give us that?
Okay, well, here, why would you
if I'm a first-round pick,
why would you let this go on into the offseason when I got other pressing needs to do? What I'm saying, how come it hasn't been addressed now? What are they waiting for? What are the Eagles waiting for right now?
It's going to come this summer. It's February.
Summer.
How many extensions come in February? Who else?
I saw Zach Bonds, and I also saw Cam Jurgens. When did Cam get his deal done?
All right,
and he was a second rounder.
Has a single team extended a player this summer?
Let's see.
Mahomes, they just redid Mahomes' deal, but they didn't extend it. It just restructured.
Restructured it. It cleared up $44 million, $43 million today.
Yeah, another indication the cap is fake.
That's correct.
Snap your fingers and 44
in the money. That's right.
44 is available.
Don't get caught in the money here. Okay. So when do you see these deals coming?
JD will be soon, I think, in the next month or two.
Okay. When is Carter's coming?
Carter, I think they might pick up the 5th year. I think there's a little bit of hardball going on behind the scenes between those two camps. I'd love for you to try and reach out to Drew and see if you can uncover some stuff.
I will.
Because I'm of the – and I haven't been told this or anything. I'm of the belief that Drew Rosenhaus is very upset with how much they played him. That's why he kept him out of the Giants game for the foot. That's why, he did the shoulder thing. That was abrupt in the middle of the year, missed however many games he missed. I think that was intentional to some extent. And I think the organization is saying, I haven't been proven yet that I'm going to give him the big deal. And Drew was like, you played the fucking guy 99% of the snaps. I think there's some contention between those two camps right now.
I'm going to ask you a question for two different dudes here. And They're the same two players. What do you think the priority is for Howie Roseman? Jalen Carter, Jalen Phillips, or Jordan Davis?
Well, if you go off the history, the two guys in the interior are the priority, right?
Okay.
Well, think about it. He drafted Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, with top 13 picks.
Okay.
Nolan Smith was taken at 31. Jalen Phillips was traded for in the aftermarket. Josh Sweat they let walk.
Okay.
When's the last first-round draft pick the Eagles have used that on edge rusher? Nolan Smith. It was Nolan Smith. Before Nolan Smith, who was it?
I think it was Derek Barnett.
Yep.
Okay.
Josh Sweat was the second-round pick, I think.
Josh Sweat was a
fourth-round pick.
Yep.
Yep, because he had the knee, because he had the injury concerns.
At FSU. He actually got hurt in high school.
Yeah, at major, like it almost career-ending. Yeah, it was a crazy knee injury. Yeah.
All right. So who do you think the number one priority is for Drew Rosenhaus to get a deal done first? Jalen Carter or Jalen Phillips?
Well, Phillips is due because he's a free agent. But Carter is probably the bigger bag of money. And he's technically due, too, if you're an agent. Well, I'll ask you this. Which one makes Drew Rosenhaus more dough?
Good question. How much do you think Jalen Carter's going to get over 4 years?
120? 125?
Okay. How much do you think right there, okay? Drew Rosenhaus makes $6.5 million off that deal.
That's it?
Well, he makes 5.5. He don't make 10%. He makes 5.5%. So he's probably going to get $7 million, something like that. 7.5.
Or 8, yeah.
Yeah, $7 or $8 million. Okay.
5 years, 150. Oh, KCA, that's a big commitment, man, for a player that hasn't really proven the discipline, hasn't really done the things you want him to do to earn that type of deal. That's a buku bucks type of deal. 5 for 150. KCA Eagle puts in the chat.
I think Becky Gardenhire from William Morris represents Jordan Davis. Very respectable. She's really done a really nice job with her clients. She's one of the more up-and-coming people. She's not quite Nicole Lynn. Nicole Lynn, by the way, got elevated to presidency of Clutch Sports. So she's now a player. I like the way she operates. She operates quietly. She doesn't fucking make a lot of noise. She's not like that dickhead in fucking Houston, Magawa, who constantly makes noise.
Yeah.
He is terrible how he negotiates. I mean,
would you take ready for this? Would you take this if you're Drew Rosenhaus? Here's my offer to Jalen Carter this summer. 3 years, not 4, not 5. $100 million. I'll give you $60 million guaranteed.
I'll tell you why.
That's 33.3 a year.
And what is
highest paid DT in football?
And what makes that more entertaining?
The years. How we will move on from it.
Well, no, that means I'm not going to fall out of the market. Like if you sign a 5-year contract, 5 years, you're fucking outdated in the marketplace.
Now, remember, the thing with the 5-year deal is it gives Howie more flexibility.
Yeah, but that's more bag of money too up front.
It's bag of money up front, but if the owner says stroke the check up front, I'm good with it. And then you can manage the cap on the back end. 5 years gives Howie more room to play than 3 years does. I mean, if he's got a 5-year deal, Howie's stretching that bitch to 2042.
Yeah. You'll drop about 5 more voids in there.
Yeah, right.
How do you think the new offensive coaches are going to mesh with the current talent that they have on offense?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. A bunch of proven players that have achieved quite a bit. Quite a bit.
More than the staff.
It's not even in the league. Like if you're the staff, you're probably asking them questions.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the staff is looking at, what do you make of this? Do you think we should slip block or reach block here?
That's what I mean. Like if this is what I said about Jalen, like where if I'm in Cancun and they call me and tell me Parks Frazier, dude, the same goes for the OC. Like I know some people don't like Jalen or some people love Jalen. Here's an objective fact. Sean Mannion can't hold a God-blessed candle to what Jalen Hurts has accomplished as a quarterback in the National Football League.
That's
Not
great.
a candle. Not a candle. You don't think a player thinks about that? I don't know.
Completely. Let me ask you this. Let's go around the NFC East for a second. Then don't forget, we got Battle Royale. What do you make of the Giants? What's their biggest concerns going into this year? What do you think the New York Giants? How do you think and how do you look at them? They built a really nice staff. They're probably going to add another weapon on offense. They may add another linebacker here.
They need a linebacker. They need linebackers in secondary in New York. They have great defensive line. Offensive line has gotten better, but it's still pretty shoddy. I still have questions on Jackson Dart, but I'll say this. I don't have them finishing 4th in the East in my early NFC East rankings. I don't have them finishing 4th. I think Harbaugh is a legit guy. I think the coaching staff they've assembled is, quite frankly, pretty impressive. And I think they're going to be a contender. But I'm a little iffy on Jackson Dart, dude. You know, there's what do people always say about Hurts, right? They say, oh, he's great athlete, but he struggles with the pass game. Well, Jackson Dart struggles with it more than Jalen Hurts does. He struggled with it way more than Hurts does last year.
Agreed.
So I know he can make plays when it breaks down, but all right, now there's some tape on him. You know, that doesn't work forever in the NFL. You better learn to beat a defense from the pocket. I don't know if he can do that.
Okay, I got one here for you too. Commanders. Was that a one of? Can they rebuild their defense? And do you think Jaden Daniels gets back to his form of a rookie season?
All right, so I'm going to contradict myself in this answer a little bit. I think Jaden Daniels is a great player, and I think he's going to have a better year. I do. I think he's a good quarterback. I do. I don't think he's a one-year wonder. I think he's a good player. I think that team is still going down.
Huh.
I don't think he's good enough to I think he's a good player. I don't think he's good enough to fix all the problems. I think they made every mistake possible last year in the retooling of the roster. I thought they paid Terry McLaurin too late and too much money. I think they're tied up in a bunch of older players who really aren't performing like they should be performing. All their best players are 29 or old. I mean, their best defensive tackles too, Deron Payne.
Yeah.
I mean, they got rid of Jonathan Allen. I don't see the pressure that they need on the defensive line. Their offensive line, they did some good things, but again, their biggest acquisition last year was Laramie Tunsil, who's 30-something years old. I know they got Josh Connerly in the draft. He could be a solid player, but I don't like what they did with their roster, dude. I really think he botched it.
What do you make of Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach in Dallas?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
You think he's underrated?
I thought he had a good year one. Well, I don't think he's done enough yet to say that, but I thought he had a good first year. I mean, I'd say this. When they first hired him, I was like, ooh, that's an interesting hire. Jerry hire, probably right. Somebody that wants a lackey, but I thought he did good. I mean, dude, he had the number one offensive football. He's an offensive guy. I think that's pretty good, right? But as a head coach, there's more to it than just your offense, and I think he's still got some learning to do. But I can't put that defense on him. I can't. That defense stunk.
An Eagle question for you on Nick. So if Vic leaves, first, do you think Nick has hired all of these offensive coaches?
I actually think he's had more to do with it this year because I believe that the owner wants him out on an island. I do. And I think they gave him a little bit more of it to fix. But I do think they gave him the overwhelming parameter of we need change. the Jeffrey Lurie up top. You can pick your coaches, but you're not running your shit offense again. It's well, what the hell, But that's kind of what I think the setup is. It's an interesting setup. We'll see.
Okay, so do you think Nick then would make the hire of the new defensive coordinator?
if they have a successful season, yeah, I do.
Well, here's my
maybe
problem.
not. I don't know.
But here's my problem: hit or miss, hit or miss, hit. Or this guy's like in a bowling alley.
Well, who hires Vic?
Strikes or he hits a gutter.
I mean, Vic is a tough one to gauge because the organization's always wanted Vic.
So then you don't think Vic was hired by Nick?
Well, I think it's. I mean, why would Nick say no to Vic? Give me that answer.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when he leaves, because the almighty Nick Sirianni, the greatness of Nick Sirianni.
I don't get you guys. I don't get you. I don't get the people in the chat. I don't get Philly fans. I mean, they talk like Nick Sirianni is literally a fucking stooge. The guy is literally fucking wins more football games than any other coach in the league. The guy's been in 2 bowls. Oh yeah, you can have a stooge for a coach. And I mean, come on, it doesn't add up. How many times do I have to say this summer? It doesn't add up.
He's a hamster in the wheel.
Yeah. So ready by Sil's account and everybody in the chat.
Hey,
the quarterback is a hamster in the wheel. The coach is a hamster. This is the only team in the history of football that's ever had a caboose as a coach and a quarterback and be as successful as they are.
Before I go to these 2 guys, I want you to do one last thing for me in the offense. One last thing. Who's the best player on the offense right now?
Yeah. Best player on offense?
Yeah.
Devontae Smith?
I'm going to go AJ.
I'll stay AJ too.
I'll go.
Look at Philly in the chat. Coach is a dope.
Watch this. Hang on here. Watch this. AJ. Second one's Mulata. Third one's Lane. Fourth one's Devontae. Fifth one is Barkley. Sixth one's the quarterback. So fuck, dude. There's your hamster in the wheel.
Obnoxious. Philly, I know you don't even believe that Nick Sirianni's a dope. He is a silly dude, and he's not my type. I've said that 100 times. He's a weirdo. The success is the success. I don't know what you want from me.
All right. Do we have any?
I mean, you think? Wait. You guys really think 5'6" Howie Roseman in his little button-up shirt?
Yeah.
Is the reason that the Eagles? I mean, come on. Come on. He's a big part of it, but. Come on, Sills.
I think Clive Roseman is absolutely
5'6" Roseman is the reason we got Super Bowl.
Hey,
all right, dude, I'm out of here.
All right,
you're making the boys wait.
I got you, bro. All right, we good?
We're good, brother. I'll see you. All right, man.
I got you, man. I'll read the supers later. Got you, man. All right. Yes, sir. It's Ash Wednesday. I got to be a good guy. Without further ado, by the way, Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to make a comment here before I bring in Mark Combs. And I think this is going to make Mark Combs feel pretty damn good. I think the Cowboys are 2 players away from going to a divisional round game. If they put Max Crosby on that team, or they put Max Crosby and Nakobe Dean on that team, okay, you got Nakobe and you have Max Crosby. The Cowboys are going to a divisional game. And get this, what could happen? Without further ado, one team on the up, the Dallas Cowboys. The other team in decline. You figure which one out. We bring in the legendary Mark Combs, one of the great creators of content for the Dallas Cowboys, and my friend, the legend himself, Philly 500, who joins us now here. How you guys doing, man?
Man, I'm mad.
Listening to that nonsense.
I'm mad as hell, man. I tell you why. Because you had to do the show the same time we finally get the introduction of Christian Parker. It's going on now. And you know what? He sounds just like Mike Tomlin. Have you heard him speak? Deep voice and everything else. I tell you what. You know what? I have to say thank you, Eagles, because I am seeing what I'm hearing from him. I definitely like what he's serving in the restaurant. when he says that, what kind of defense you going to run, he said, I come from a Nick Fangio system that starts with the 3-4, but we also do a 4-3. We will do some 4-2s, and we will cater to the talent that we have on the field, which is, because you get some guys that they have a system, and we're going to do the system no matter if I don't have the players or not. He's recognizing I've got a few pieces here, and everything's going to start out from that defensive front. So I'm enjoying what I'm hearing from him.
Absolutely, and I'm watching him right now. This guy looks like Mike Tomlin.
He sounds like Mike Tomlin. I was like, wait a minute. Did we get Mike Tomlin?
He was just another nobody with the Eagles, and all of a sudden he goes to Dallas and he's Mike Tomlin.
No, Philly.
Get the frig out of here.
The Cowboys hired him. You were doing the Philly shake.
I'm not trashing him. I think he's a great young coach. I like the guy. But come on, you were like, oh, well, who are we getting? Now he's Mike Tomlin, the great. Come on.
I'm just saying. I finally
let's see what he does.
Yeah,
I think he's.
How
good.
about if he brings? Guess what? Xander said this. He believes that Nakobe Dean's going to Dallas.
It's a fear that I have. Yeah, I could totally see that. Mm-hmm. And I think Cowboy fans are sleeping on Nakobe Dean a lot. I keep hearing it.
Oh, I've turned around because when you went off when you drafted Nakobe Dean. I will never forget you and what's his name going off. Oh my God, we got Nakobe Dean. But Nakobe, if he stays healthy, is a great player. I have to admit that
he is a great player. Oh, yeah, I agree.
Here's what I thought he was dog shit his first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Vic came in with Bobby King after that when those guys were hired and brought him in. I got to tell you, man, I'm wrong on his ability. But what I'm not wrong on, Philly, this guy's missed 24, 51 ball games.
That's the problem.
That's been the issue. I mean, that's definitely the issue. But when he plays and he's healthy, he's a tone setter. I hate to see him go. I would love to find a way to keep him. I would actually try to make a play for him because how many more years do you expect Zach Bond to be here? So if there's any way I could do it, right. So if there's any way I could do it and keep Bond one more year, I would do it. But I don't think they're going to go that route. But I would love to. I hate to see him go to Dallas.
Mark, how much of an overhaul do you think the defense goes through? And do you think it really does look like the too high? And they look like the Fangio defense because, again, the Fangio defense, you got to have pressure. You got to have corners.
Mm-hmm.
And most notably, as Philly knows, bro, you got to have linebackers. If you don't have linebackers in the middle of the field covering that zone,
and here lies our problem.
You are not going to play that defense.
Well, here lies our problem because I know you say, hey, if the Cowboys just go out and get Max Crosby, the problem is we don't have a second, third round pick. We've got those 2 number ones. If we end up spending it, and from what you're hearing, at least they want, you can always want anything, but what they'll actually end up being, but they're looking for a Micah Parsons type trade, and I can't see spending 2 number ones. We definitely need more help at linebacker. Even if we do get Nakobe Dean, you still are a little bit short. We've got to get edge rusher, and we've got to get safety, and we need another cornerback. Now, I think what the Cowboys are looking, and one of the battle cries for them have been they want guys that are teachers. They believe they have some really young, raw talent and guys like Overshown, like Savon Ravel, getting Deron Bland hopefully back up to where he was, that they can get addition of players just by getting guys that are actually playing better than what they did. And Araku, too.
Philly, has Nick Sirianni made coming to Philadelphia as a coach undesirable?
I don't know. I have no idea.
And here's why I'm
undesirable?
asking. Not a loaded question to you, but here's why I'm asking you. You land on Parks Frazier, 33. You land on a coordinator who's 34. You land on a lot of these young guys who really, if you think about it, nobody would have hired for the positions that they filled. These aren't people that were your number one options. Were they on filling the offensive staff? Or maybe you think they were.
I don't know. I mean, I think they did their due diligence with like Mike McDaniel. I just think it worked out where I think he wanted to be out west. Look, he turned down the opportunity to be a head coach in Buffalo. So he just wanted to be where he wanted to be. I actually think that what they did when their top choice wasn't there actually was better than what I was afraid they were going to do. I like the idea of going young and taking a chance with somebody with a good mind, maybe a new vision for the offense, and not just the same old thing. I think if you hired like a Matt Nagy or somebody like that, I think it's basically just recycling the same thing. So I'm kind of excited to bring in a young guy, and I actually think it is a risk. I think it's high risk, high reward. I actually give Nick Sirianni credit for that, because I think it takes kind of balls to kind of be in a situation where you're willing to take a chance with young coaches. So I actually give him credit for that.
Mark, it looks like now I'm going to ask you about the impact of Christian Parker here in a second, but according to Adam Schefter, looks like the two teams that may be fighting for Max Crosby are the Eagles and the Cowboys. I'll take your thoughts for well, that's Adam Schefter. It's not me saying that. You tell me first, and then I'll go to Philly on his takeaway on that.
First of all, let's be clear here. It's the offseason. So how do you get people
We're
to
in
listen?
The land of liars.
Okay, right. So, of course, you put Cowboys in and Eagles. I don't think Adam Schefter has gone to the Cowboys and Jerry said, we're all in on that guy and things like that. I'm going to say that that's kind of some bullshit. And for me, as great as Max Crosby is, let me ask you, how many playoff wins has he been part of?
0.
How about Myles Garrett?
I think 1.
TJ Watt?
1, 2.
Micah Parsons?
So we're counting
0.
playoff wins now. Now they matter.
No. I'm just saying here is when you got that guy in the same way people talk about you can't pay a quarterback. The Cowboys have more needs than edge rusher. We had one of the best of the last few years with Micah Parsons. Basically, what you're saying is let's bring Micah Parsons back. That's a little bit older. If you look at the Seattle Seahawks, that's a complete defense. There's not really big superstars.
Every level.
It's every level. There's guys. Yeah, it'd be great to have a front seven, but I kept seeing 3rd and long every time completed down the field on these linebackers and cornerbacks. So I don't know about that. Now, for the Eagles, I'm going to say, how the hell do you give up a 3rd round pick in the middle of the season for Jalen Phillips? And I hear you can't afford to pay him, but you can afford to spend possibly 2 first-round picks and pay Max Crosby?
I'm not giving 2 runs for him.
That's what supposedly they're asking for 2, as well as an additional player. I mean,
bro, I'd rather sign Bradley Chubb for $12-13 million.
That would be my move there.
And hey, Philly, I'm not spending $23 million on Jalen Phillips. I'm just not. I mean, he's going to command that kind of money. I don't give a shit what people are saying. I know Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey who rep him. If you move on from him, don't you think there's a number, Philly? First, answer this. What'd you make of the Max Crosby that you guys?
I think it's very much real with the Eagles, very much real, and history over the course of the last 2 years proves it. Last offseason, they tried to trade for Myles Garrett. Then they almost pulled trade off for Micah Parsons. Then they tried to trade up multiple first-round picks to bring Myles Garrett in at the trade deadline. Obviously, this team wants an elite pass rusher. And if they don't think Jalen Phillips is this guy and they can make a play for Max Crosby, they're going to do it. Now, that doesn't mean all the money and everything's going to work out. But if you're going to tell me, do the Eagles have an interest in him? I think they will, because over the course of the last 2 years, they have been pursuing elite pass rushers. So why would it change now?
It wouldn't. Hey, the impact, and by the way, I'm also hearing and I'm watching a little bit too as we're all doing this. What do you think the impact Christian Parker has? And I'll ask Philly, what do you think the loss will be on the defensive side with him not being there? Or do you think because Vic's in tow that the defense will still be status quo? Because, again, they got great players back there in Cooper DeJean and also Quinyon Mitchell. The other CB2 is yet to be addressed. But first for you, Mark, what do you think the impact Parker makes?
Every move when you first make it is great. Nobody makes a move and says, this is just the dumbest thing in the world. What I will say is I'm happy that Christian Parker, when he was hired, young guy, okay, doesn't have the experience of being the play caller and stuff, but a guy, as Brian Schottenheimer said, that's been working on this getting here for the last 5 years, and definitely has sights on becoming a head coach, that he didn't just hire guys that he knows, his buddies. He's gone around and they've tried to get almost a world NFL view and even college view of different coaches and philosophies. So that way, hopefully it becomes a melting pot of different ideas of things that have worked, as well as relationships with players that may be elsewhere that you might look at and say, hey, we're getting the band together. Maybe let's look at the Cowboys. And so from that standpoint, I'm enjoying what I'm hearing. The first half of that press conference, hearing him speak, the way he's got no fear. He looks like a guy who's ready for, the spotlight of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know what, Philly? And I think I'm not as pessimistic with you losing him, and I'll tell you why, and you tell me if you agree. Back in the day when Tony Dungy had that coaching staff in Tampa, you had Mike Tomlin on it. You had Raheem Morris. You had coaches all over that. Rod Marinelli. You had so many great coaches that were on that coaching staff. Monty Kiffin was on that staff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because you have Vic Fangio that, you're going to have a seamless transition, I think, going from Christian Parker. Not saying he's not a great coach, because I think he is a really great candidate. People are all around the league were talking about him. But don't you have comfort in knowing that Vic Fangio is the guy who's going to replace him? He's going to elevate, and they did from within. You got to feel a little bit more comfortable because Vic's there.
Yeah, didn't they bring in the defensive back coach
from
the
did.
Buffalo Bills? Safety, and he's supposed to be. I heard good things about him so far. So I agree. I think because Vic is there, I think it won't be as big of an impact. And I think also having 2 years of Christian Parker to kind of build up and bring up Q and Cooper DeJean makes a big difference as well. So I think they'll be okay. They need to address that corner position, but no, I think they'll be okay.
Let me ask you one move about the Cowboys and what they did, though, by getting Christian Parker. Christian Parker, how long was he there at Philly? And he was
2
there
years.
He was there 2 years in Philadelphia, right? With
so,
Vic,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who has the advantage in that? You think the Eagles have the advantage, or do you think the Cowboys now have the advantage on game planning?
It's a good question. I would say it's probably even. I would think that Vic knows what Christian Parker does and doesn't do well, and I think Christian Parker probably knows what Vic likes to do in certain situations.
I'm kind of saying more about the quarterback, Mark, about Jalen Hurts and how they went against practice, scrimmages.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I would definitely say he knows where the bodies are buried. And see, here's the other flip side of this.
You do agree they hired him to beat Philly?
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, here's the thing. When you look at Vic Fangio, he's, 66?
67.
67. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's not coming out with a lot of new wrinkles and things like that. But what you're going to see is, yes, the pupil is now become the teacher here. He's going to come and develop his own defense. So you can't just blankly say, I know everything that he's going to do, especially with all of these different coaches that he's got from different locations. But I think the intel that he's going to have on the offense, not that the offense was that hard to stop in Philly, because the offense, I wouldn't worry about your defense. I think your defense is going to be fine. The question is what's going to happen with your offense?
Mark,
Parker doesn't know what the offense is going to look like exactly.
Nobody knows the guys.
He knows
but those guys are very talented if you put them in the right position. So to me, it's how quickly can he adjust to what the Eagles offensively are doing, and how successful can the Eagles be on that offense? And to me, that's a question we'll just have to wait and see. But who knows?
Mark, if your defense finishes 11th.
Oh my God.
If your defense finishes 11th this year, you win the Super Bowl?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. We know shit that changes fast in the NFL. Minnesota was 13-3 the year before?
I just saw Sam Darnold win the Super Bowl. If Sam Darnold can win, Dak can win.
There's no guarantee that the Cowboys offense will be as good as it was this year. For all we know, the Cowboys could do some stupid shit and trade, George Pickens or franchise tag and piss the guy off, and he just says, fuck football. If the Cowboys offense is as good as it was last year and we've got a top 15 defense, if we don't make the divisional round, I got to turn in my Cowboys card.
Okay.
Divisional round, that's not really high expectations.
I'm just saying. Well, it is from where I'm sitting with the Cowboys.
That's like, to me, that's already admitting failure. You're admitting failure. You already know. You already know what's going to happen.
I said
they could have an 11th ranked defense, number one offense. They're going to lose in the playoffs.
Philly,
they're going to choke in the playoffs like Philly. They always
do. Wait a minute, Philly. Wait a minute. I got a question.
It's going to change.
So you don't wait a minute. So you don't believe quarterbacks can ever change the narrative?
Yeah, they can.
So wait a minute. Like when Matthew Stafford was 0-4 in Detroit, and he goes to a better organization, has better players on it, and he wins the Super Bowl, people said he could never win in the postseason, that he choked in the playoffs. Do you think he changed the narrative?
Yeah, of course he changed the narrative. And you could say John Elway changed the narrative. And you could say Sam Darnold changed the narrative. You can say all these guys changed the narrative.
But why not that?
For every guy that's changed the narrative, there are guys that haven't. And just because those guys did it, I can't give Dak Prescott credit for changing the narrative. He's got to do it first. Then I can give him credit. Can he do it? I don't know. That's the question. He has a chance. And as long as he's playing, it's there to be changed, but I don't believe he will.
Okay,
Mark, do you? I mean, all these other guys have shown you. I think Baker Mayfield has changed the narrative a bit. I mean, with what he's done, this guy was on 4 different ball teams too.
Yeah, this is true.
Sam Darnold has changed my opinion on how we look at quarterbacks, bro. You could be 0-4, like he mentioned with John Elway. John Elway got smoked in Super Bowls. He got freaking smoked. He was 0-3.
But he made.
They said he would. Yeah, but guess what? He was carried. He was a caboose in those 2 wins. Terrell Davis.
But he to lose a Super Bowl, you have to make a Super Bowl. You have to win somewhere in the playoffs. You have to win a championship game. You have to get to a championship game. We're talking about a guy that can't barely get out of the first round. Prove it. He's got to go prove it.
Okay. We know we're not going to get an equal play here. This is Dak sucks. Oh, it doesn't. There's nothing.
No. I'm in agreement with you. I agree with you, Mark.
Why am I supposed to give Dak credit for what other people have done?
Because what I'm saying is that I saw quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford. I brought this up to Mark. If that defense improves, and to Mark's point, what he just said, if that can't win in the playoffs and you got a top 12 defense, this is fucking it. This is it.
Time to give it up.
Then he should have been done a long time ago. He's already had a good defense in the playoffs and still lost.
Okay. That doesn't matter. Move on.
Prove it. Let him prove it. He's got to prove it.
If Vic Fangio leaves next year, wait, how many years do you think Fangio has in Philly?
1. I think this is it.
Okay. Do you think the defense implodes without Vic the following year?
It depends who the coach is. It depends who your coordinator is. I think that the defense has a ton of talent, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So I think if you bring in a competent coach, competent defensive coordinator, I think they'll be fine. The defense has got a lot of talent, and they're establishing themselves, and they're pretty young. So I don't think it will implode. No.
Are they going to tag Pickens, in your opinion? Now, tag window opened, I believe,
yesterday at 4.
Yesterday? Okay. We're not going to see a Dallas Cowboys.
Until the 3rd. So here's the thing. They're not in a rush.
We're not going to see a Dallas Cowboy thing be stretched out until like the 23rd hour of this thing. And we're going to roll into this.
Here's what's happening with the situation, okay? Now, again, the window opened up yesterday. It's open until the 3rd of March. Okay, you've got the combine that starts next week. You've actually got David Melagetta, who's already saying he wants to get this thing going and done and over with. So the Cowboys, if the Cowboys had rushed to go ahead and do the franchise tag, that basically says we're not interested in negotiating. You're just going to say we're just going to put the franchise tag and this is it. We're done for the year. This to me is a good sign that they haven't rushed to do this. And the longer it goes before they do, I think the better chances of them getting a deal. They can always at the last minute flip it on there. But I think they're trying to actually negotiate in good faith and say, hey, David Mulligetta, it's water under the dam. Let's go ahead and get this thing together and do George Pickens and not make the same mistake.
Hold on.
I have a question about Pickens. I have a question.
Go ahead.
All right. So what? And I'm asking because I don't know the whole story, but I see all this leak stuff coming out now about how Pickens was fined all these times, and they're bringing up all these situations with how he wasn't maybe the best teammate or whatever in Dallas last year. Is that negotiating, or are they?
Well, supposedly, okay. So here's what happened.
I hadn't heard this. Where'd it go, Philly?
Hold on. In this day and age of AI and all that stuff, you got to be careful with what you actually see and you believe. The story supposedly came from Todd Archer. Todd Archer said, no, that's not me. So that came out. That went through the blogosphere and everything else on there. Now, I can go around and I can look and I can say, how about Stephon Diggs? Is Stephon Diggs better than George Pickens?
No.
Rashid Rice out there racing and wrecking a car. Is he worse than George Pickens?
DK Metcalf was the guy who got suspended.
AJ hitting the guy. How about AJ Brown reading the book on the sidelines? And here's the thing about wide receivers. The good ones, they're a little crazy. Look at Michael Irvin. Look at Chad Ochocinco. Look at T.O. He's done nothing worse than any of those guys.
I'm not disagreeing.
A guy who's got 1,400 yards as the number 2 wide receiver, I'll take that on my team over a Noah Brown that gets about 600 and is half the time flipping the ball up to the other team.
Hey, Mark, I'm going to tell you that agent, Jerry Jones, fucking hates that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Irvin has said it. He hates that guy.
Yeah, he does. But you know what?
He's on his best
you got to use.
He better be on his best behavior. I'm telling you, Jerry is not. Jerry proved one thing to you last year. He will not. He'll cut his you-know-what off.
Yeah.
Because of what he did with Parsons last year.
When you got that kind of money, you can do that.
You got it, because you know why? I run Venezuela.
That's right.
Hey, Philly, what are you doing in the draft? What are the Eagles doing in the draft here?
It's too early to tell, but I'll say I have a feeling you're going to see defense more in free agency, and I think you're going to see offense early in the draft. I think you got to retool that offensive line. I would not be surprised if the Eagles go 2 out of the first 3 picks offensive linemen. So, you have Landon Dickerson contemplating retirement. Now we find out that Cam Jurgens, we knew his back was messed up. He's doing stem cells to try to get his back right. So you've got to reload on that offensive line, and I think you need to go there early and often. To be honest with you.
Hey, Mark, Cam Jurgens was down in Medellin with the Escobars, and he was working on his lower back down there, trying to get that back and rubbing that cocaine on his back.
I bet it felt good.
Say hello to my little friend.
Absolutely here. All right, here. Hey, Philly, I got a couple more here for you. Jeff Stoutland's departure. How does that impact the future offensive lines in Philadelphia?
I think that to me, bringing a guy back like Mekhi Becton now is like, it's not a sure thing, because I think when you have a guy like Stoutland, you can develop these guys. You kind of know what he likes. I think right now, we don't have that kind of guy to do that. So, it changes drastically what kind of chances you can take on certain offensive linemen, for sure.
Are you happy with Brian Schottenheimer, Mark?
I love him. I think he's a great coach, and I think he played the game the right way. He didn't hire Eberflus, and you can't go through and just cut the guy that Jerry and Stephen Jones did. He basically let him, hey, I'm going to see Eberflus, and we're going to let him take care of this, and and so forth. Eberflus hung himself, and so that opened up the door for now. Okay, what are we going to do now? Because when you look at this press conference, I tell you what I'm more impressed about more than anything else is it's Brian Schottenheimer and it's Christian Parker. There's no Stephen Jones. There's no Jerry Jones. These 2 guys are the new face of the Dallas Cowboys. And it was Brian Schottenheimer and Christian Parker doing these interviews with all of these guys. Jerry sat in, of course, and things like that, but you can't think that Jerry Jones knew who Christian Parker was. This is Brian Schottenheimer. So sink or swim, at least he's getting the latitude, hopefully, to run this team on the field.
Two more here, guys. Philly, who's under more pressure in 26, Nick or the quarterback?
I think Nick. It just seems like certain decisions that were made at the end of last year. You had, 2 years ago, the collapse, then you win the Super Bowl, then you kind of have like almost like a miniature collapse this year. And I think that the addition of going with new offensive coaches, one coordinator who has never called plays right before, I think that puts the pressure, I think, more on the coach than the quarterback, to be honest with you. I mean, I think they both have pressure, but I think it falls on Nick.
Do you think the Dallas Cowboys, Mark, are in the best position that they've been in 2 years with draft commodities, getting players in, building the roster? Do you see them making the hiring of Schottenheimer? Looks like it was right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to disagree with probably half the people watching. I personally agree. I think you got better moving Micah. I think you got more draft equity.
In the long run,
I think you stopped the bleeding in the run defense.
Yes.
You got to address some more. I think you got better as a unit, not just having one marquee guy and having him out there get run over by Lane Johnson every single Sunday when they play.
Against Micah.
Better.
Yeah.
They're better now. Do you agree they're in a better position?
They can be. The big question still is Jerry Jones, okay? As I was pointing out to Philly 500, if you look at the Cowboys, basically the difference of what the Eagles do and the Cowboys do is the Cowboys end up putting the restructures, the triggers in there for their players. That's why Jalen Hurts is already at a $31 million cap hit this year versus Dak Prescott's a $73. The Cowboys will flip the trigger and get $31 million on it. The Cowboys can flip triggers to get cash if they want. Now, everybody's out here saying, you can't pay George Pickens. Well, we paid CeeDee Lamb with his new contract, $8.5 million the first year, $14 the second. You can do these things. If it were an ideal season, you get George Pickens done early, you end up kicking that money down the road, and you have that money in free agency because you can go out and get a Bradley Chubb or, maybe even you end up getting a Jalen Phillips on there that will definitely make you better and still have your 2 number 1 picks and have cash to be able to bring in some more people. That you can. If you want to bring in a Reed Blankenship, if you want to bring in a Kobe Dean, you could do that. The question is, will they? Will they be Howie-esque?
Why don't you just take our whole team out?
Okay. Why not?
Why have you take your defense? You can keep your offense, so I don't want that trash.
Yeah. I know you want it. I know you want to be like the Eagles.
I'm trying to stick that knife in your back there, Philly.
You know you want to be like the Eagles.
Hey, what if they signed Jalen Phillips, Philly?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know what to make of Jalen Phillips right now in terms of like, what do the Eagles really think of him? I haven't heard anything. Like, usually you gotta get like signs like the Eagles would really like to bring this guy back. It's been really quiet.
Can I tell you why?
Did give, yeah.
Okay. Well, he's represented by the same agent as Carter. Okay, so Rosenhaus represents Carter and Jalen Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're trying to keep the crap as quiet as possible, according to Robert Bailey, who works in an office. So they're not trying to like kick a lot of dust up. But the problem is that the Eagles are down on Jalen Phillips' production of a year ago, and they were down on him. Whereas the Eagles want Jalen Phillips back. And so does Vic. Vic wants him back. However, I got to tell you, I know Rosenhaus for over 40 years. This guy's going to go out there and he's going to sell him this weekend at the Combines. And best offer, in my opinion, gets Jalen Phillips.
You want to hear an interesting little tad bit here?
Yeah, please.
If you believe in Pro Football Focus ratings, they got Jalen Phillips at a 74. Clowney, they actually have it at 79.5. Clowney actually had a really good season, considering that he didn't get signed until after the season started. and came in out of shape with the 8.5 sacks and the amount of pressures. I think he ended up having 52 pressures. Just saying.
You know what? Sometimes with the numbers, though, Mark, I would say this. Sometimes a player is more valuable to a scheme than
True.
individual numbers.
Yeah.
And when Phillips came to the Eagles, the secondary, Adoree Jackson got better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, final question for you, Philly. What do you do with Hurts? Do you extend him?
Yeah, I mean, I would extend them within the next 2 years. I don't know if they need to necessarily extend them right now. I don't know what the numbers are.
There's no guaranteed money after this year.
Right, but like extending him now, how much cap space would that free up? Like it would depend on those kind of things. Otherwise, his cap number's 31 million this year. I could wait another year, but I mean, I think it's something that you most likely want to do. I would think, unless the Eagles are down on him, which I don't think they are, but we do hear reports that, rumors of they might take a quarterback, which would never surprise me when it comes to the Eagles. But I think within the next 2 years, but I don't know. I don't know what you get out of signing him early now. How much cap space do you get?
Let me sneak it in. Mark, do you think the Cowboys draft a quarterback?
I wouldn't. I think they might late in the rounds. I mean, if we're talking about
4, 5, 6, 7, like that.
I mean, you only have 2 first-round picks. You don't have a second and a third, so it would have to be a late round because you always end up wanting to bring somebody in. I don't necessarily think it'll be this year, but I think next year they're going to be starting to look hard at being serious about trying to get a quarterback.
What about you, Philly? You think the Eagles go like 2, 3, 4, 5? Where do you think they land?
I think they'll take a quarterback, but I don't think they're going to take a quarterback
in premium rounds
earlier than 5. Yeah, I mean, I think they'll take somebody to develop. I don't think they're going to. I think they got 2. I think they got to retool this offense, man. You need at least 2 offensive linemen. You need a tight end. I think you're going to see a heavy early offensive draft sprinkled in a couple defensive players. And then I think you're going to see free agency. I think you're going to see them spend money defense. But I do think they are after an elite pass rusher. I know it costs a lot of money. I know people like to say they can't afford it. And I'm not saying it'll work out money-wise, but I think they would like to do it because history over the last 2 years have shown that when an elite pass rusher has been around, they've made an effort to get him.
How about this here, Mark? NFC title game. Cowboys versus the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, man.
I would love
just
that.
Book my ticket right now.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Book it.
I don't care where.
You know what?
I'll be at that game.
Ain't no way Dallas getting a new title game, though. I mean, it's just December comes. You know what happens in December.
So wait,
I showed you guys.
Would you put 11+ wins still on this Eagle team going into this year?
Yeah, I would. I
got 7 to 9 wins.
I actually think things are going in the right direction.
Oh,
to be quite honest with you, I listen. What do? And I talk about this. Hey, what is every Cowboy fan? What are they all crying about? Please trade AJ Brown. Please trade AJ Brown. Please have your offensive line be bad. Please keep the same coaches from a year ago. You know what? The Eagles right now are doing the things they have to do. It looks like AJ Brown's coming back. Looks like their offensive linemen are trying to get stem cells and get healthy. They know they got to fix their offensive line. They know they got to fix their offense. And the most important guy you have to sign right now, Jordan Davis. Got to get Jordan Davis extended.
Hey, Mark, he's getting embryo injections in his back. and I'm like,
hey, look, Peyton Manning, didn't he play like 2 more years with them things?
Remember, too, Christian McCaffrey went overseas and did something with his knee or something, right?
Manning couldn't turn his head. Right?
Yeah,
couldn't turn his head.
Quarterback, not offensive line, bro.
Hey, you know what Cam's doing, right? He's chasing the big booty Brazilians. That's what I'd be doing down there.
Well, he ain't holding up a block for more than 2 seconds.
A block of what? Coke down in Medellin? I got you. Hey, guys, I appreciate you very much. Big day for you, Mark. You got yourself the next Mike Tomlin.
Maybe. We'll see. We will see.
Billy.
Mike Tomlin.
You got
Mike Tomlin. Then they're going to get Jalen Phillips, and it's the next, Michael Parsons. Here we go.
Bradley Chubb, man.
I
Bradley
Get out
appreciate
of
Chubb.
Dory
guys.
Jackson. Thank you, man. Appreciate
Make sure
it.
you
Take a
guys
Dory
check out
Jackson.
the Fabulous guys. I appreciate these men very much, man. Absolutely great stuff. All right, let me get back here and absolutely killing it, man. Yeah, he's down there chasing them big booty chicks. That's what he's doing. Heard it was Columbia. Those women are smoking too. Boy, they are. Ain't no way Jurgens is going to be any good when he comes back. What, they ruined him? Is that what you... Cam Jurgens is in Brazil. He's going to throw his back out. Women weaken knees. Yes, I heard it. That's Rocky, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Dak has always had players on offense. Z, throw that one up there, my friend. He just threw up there. I didn't. That super chat. You got to get that $10 super chat there. I forgot. Go ahead, big man. See if I can find it here. Guys, I appreciate the supers, man. Big time. Thank you very much here. Let's go back here. Hey, look, I think Dallas is going to be a good football team, man. I do. I think Dallas, let's see here. Dak has always had players on offense. Cowboys poached Eagles. Now he's Phil Jackson. Okay. Sirianni got a kid phone, 4 numbers. 1 for Lurie, 2 for Roseman, and 3 for Lang, and 4 for Dom. Got it. See here. Trayvon Walker. That's Z's guy. That's Big Z's dude. Here it is right here. I got it. Here it is. We got one more here. Good stuff, guys. I appreciate you very much here, man. Here we go. Walker. I heard Angelo yesterday and today, and weighing it up, it sounds like 2026 could be really disappointing. Where to wear the ashes, Z? Well done. How you doing? You're good. I don't know. Hey, listen, Xander, I just learned how to scroll back. I just learned last week, like on Wednesday, how to scroll back. Yeah, I didn't know you could do it. That's why somebody the other day, they were going like this to me. They're going, hey, Sills, I heard you got a burner account. I'm like, burner account? What the hell is a burner account? And the guy goes, well, you have multiple accounts. Multiple accounts? Yeah, no. Multiple accounts. Yeah, no. Big Sills doesn't have multiple accounts. 93 years, 2 bowls. It's actually not 93 years. It's from 1967, so it's but I get it. Thanks, Sue. Kayvon Thibodeau would be cheaper. That's what they were saying in New York this morning. You can get at least 3 offensive linemen for the price of 1 pass rusher with the money. No, you can't. Gregory, your 2 left offensive tackles are north of $27 million. Jordan Mailata, how much money is Jordan Mailata making as a left OT? I think Lane's up near 30, isn't he? Jordan Mailata's salary. $2,026. Okay. He's going to make $19 million this year. He's a $20 million guy. And the other guy's a $30 million dude. Okay? I think he's going to be Gary, Chubb, Thibodeau. I think Rosen makes a move for one of those. I thought it was 19.37 I saw. And as a matter of fact, I think that's pretty cheap. 2 forwards. Yeah. I thought it was, Jimbo, I thought it was 20. Look at that. Dak had good players and couldn't win. Well, how about this one, Angelo? Matthew Stafford had Megatron in Detroit and couldn't win. I mean, right? He had Megatron. Megatron's a Hall of Fame player, and they couldn't win in Detroit. He was 0-4 in the playoffs. All right? I mean, it's a lot of dough. Do you not agree? Yeah, it's guarantees. Listen, like I said, and I'll say it again, this offseason, again, for Howie, dude, first in priority. I told you, I got Jalen on here. I got A.J. Brown. I got Phillips. For me, Jalen Phillips, I heard the guys talking, and I completely disagree with John on Jalen Phillips being better than Max Crosby. Max Crosby playing with poor guys. Now, I will say this in John's defense. Okay, but help me out here. Have the Raiders been good? Have the Raiders been good in the last 20 years? Have they been good, the Raiders? Okay, let's take a look at the Raiders. In Max Crosby's time as a Oakland and Las Vegas Raider, Raiders year to year. Okay, let's take a look at the Raiders and who they've been under since Crosby's been there. They're 3-14. They're 4-13. They're 8-9. They're 6-11. They're 10-7. And they're 8-8 in his entire time. Actually, in 7-9. Because I think he's been there 7 years. Look at the Raiders. They've had how many winning seasons? Since 2003. Here's how many years they've had winning years. So since 2003, the Raiders are 4-12, 5-11, 4-12, 2-14, 4-12, 5-11, 5-11, 8-8, 8-8, 4-12, 4-12, 3-13, 7-9. They had a good season in 16 with Del Rio, if you remember right. They went 12-14, 12-4. Then they went 6-10, 4-12, 7-9, 8-8, 10-7, 6-11, 8-9, 4-13, 3-14. Okay. So since 2003, the Raiders have had 2 winning seasons. That's not an organization that you're going to get a lot of success in. You know, the Raiders at one time used to be the best winning percentage NFL football team of all time. Keyword, Dan, he said players. That's more than one. That's a great call, too. Here. How many coaches since 03 have the Raiders had? Callahan, Turner, Shell, Kiffin, Cable, Jackson, Allen, Sperano, Del Rio, Gruden, Biscayne, Gruden again. Oh, not Gruden. McDaniels, Pierce, Carroll. Holy cow, you're right. What a colossal disaster. 15 coaches. Since 2003, the Raiders are a train wreck. I mean, they're the West Coast version of, and actually, they're worse than the Jets. Great history ruined by modern ownership. Here, to your point, listen to this to show you how great the Raiders were. Okay? Once Al took the team over and began coaching the team, here's the Raiders early. Ready? 13-1, 12-2, 12-1, 8-4, 8-4, 10-3, 12-2, 11-3, 13-1, 11-3, 10-6, 10-6, 11-5, 12-4, 11-5, 12-4, 12-4, 12-4. Raiders were great. When Al was out of the courtroom, the Raiders were spectacular. Dude, how about this too, Yale? When they were at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, you had the A's winning 3 in a row World Series titles, and you had those great Raider teams playing at the Oakland Coliseum. I mean, you talk about a ton of winning. That's back in the day where the Coliseum was just like, and you also had the Warriors in the same place. They had a complex there. Golden State Warriors played there. I covered the teams. Yeah, so we would go, and I was on the pre and post game show for the Raiders. I worked for the Raiders for 3 years. I was hired by Al Davis himself. And Mark Davis is a joke, man. He's just not a very smart guy. I can't believe he runs that team. I just can't. And he runs it into the ground. When I got hired by Al, I was always over at the Raider complex. Every single day after my show, I'd go over to the Raider complex, and I'd see Al, and I'd have lunch with him. I'd have dinner with him sometimes over there. He was so good, man. One of the highlights was working for him and being in the building and being in the organization and the Raider organization. That's how we know Amy Trask well. Morris Bradshaw was working there. Ken Herrick was there. Ron Wolf was there. And I got a chance to be around all those guys. I would go into I had free access all to the personnel when he was there, when he was the head coach. You know what? I'll tell you where he and I had who was that LSU quarterback that he loved? Who was that kid? And I told Al, he's not that. I don't have a good feeling about him. Who was that quarterback that the Raiders took in the first round? And I remember sitting here and watching film, and he looked over at me and he goes, I like this kid. And I looked at him and I go, damn, Al, think he's got happy feet? And I don't know. And Al loved Jamarcus Russell. That's it, guys. John Gruden walks in. He looks at me and he goes, what do you make of Jamarcus Russell? And I went, man. Al loved him. He X-nayed all of us. Ken Herrick walked in and goes, every single one of us were in that meeting that night. And every one of us went like this. Yeah, man, I don't know. Al drafted him anyway. And we were like, and he came to me, and 2 years after, when the guy was bombing, he goes, why did you think he was not going to make it? And I said, the character thing. I don't think he, like, when you watch Jalen Hurts play, here's the one thing that I really dig about Jalen, and I like about him a lot. He'll make 5 bad plays. He never goes in the tank. When Lamar Jackson makes 5 bad plays, he presses harder. And he presses. And he tries to throw footballs into tighter windows instead of taking the easy pass or punting or throwing it out of bounds. Hey, dude, losing by 3, I'd rather lose by 3. That meant I was in a game. I don't want to lose because my quarterback threw 2 picks. One's a pick 6, turnover, and I get beat by 17. I don't want to get beat by 17. I want to know that I'm in every game. I want to know that, hey, that day they beat us. I don't want to lose a game because of shitty mistakes. I'd rather lose a game by 1 point and know that I was in it than get killed and know I was never in it. Bruce Allen too. I told Bruce. And Bruce went with Al. And I'm like, man, and sure enough, I gained more equity. And that's when they offered me a position in personnel. I remember going home to my wife. I put a resume together and everything. I wanted the resume, and he was going to hire me as a personnel guy. And I was going to go to work for him. And I was like, yeah, too far into this. Wonder what would happen. I'm out on 29-year-old Crosby. Plus, I don't think he fits our scheme. Phillips is in a full offseason will be a beast. Pay Phillips, kick the can on Davis and Carter. Whoever plays the best between the two, sign them. I like that back end of your take there. I like that back end take. I do. Okay? I do. You know what? It was here like this, okay? This is Davis, and this is Carter. It was here. I think that's here now. Now, someone would go, Sills, who do you think has better upside? I don't want to hear about anything about upside. How many athletes have you ever seen that don't live up to their abilities? Jordan Davis, his entire football career, has never lived up to his ability. You can't be 350 pounds and run a 4.7 and have shitty numbers the way he did. This past year, that's what he should have been doing all the way back to Georgia. His numbers at Georgia stunk. People see the ability. 4.7, 4.74 at that size is insane. It's utterly insane. I think he's actually got more ability in times and more athleticism for that size than Carter has. He's a bigger dude. He's a bigger guy. You know, one thing the Raiders did and one thing we did, we turned him into a wide receiver. He just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I know he would play quarterback at Ohio State, but I told him, remember that kid from Indiana? What was that kid's name? Who played quarterback in Indiana. Then they turned him into a hybrid in Pittsburgh. What was that kid's name? And I'm not talking about Cardell Stewart. He was out of Colorado. Who was that kid they had at Indiana that they did that to? And they turned him into a hybrid player. I think they did it in Pittsburgh. Yeah, Randall L. Randall L. was a quarterback at Indiana, and he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And I forget who turned him into that dual guy. I think the Steelers did that and turned him into that dual threat type of. Yeah, Antoine Randall L. He's a really great athlete, though. He was a terrible quarterback. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. We used him in Washington. He was versatile. Yeah, James, he's a good player. You know, you could put him in the slot. You could put him at wideout. You could play him in a wildcat. He was a really good player. Like a football player. You know what I mean? That's why I'm glad we have Laurie as an owner. I may not agree with all of his moves, but he isn't Mark Davis. Mark Davis is so bad. I mean, you know, if I were him, I would have hired, instead of Clint Kubiak, I would have hired John Gruden back. But this time, I would have done something with John Gruden. I would have put a personnel guy in there. I think this spy tech guy is not great. But Mark doesn't listen to me anymore. You know, I think I still got his number in here. I used to talk to him a lot. He used to ask me questions because he knew his dad always asked me questions. His dad would call me, what do you make of this? And I'd go, yeah, well, I don't know. He goes, how come you don't like him? I go, again, man, Al, you know me, man. It comes down to character stuff. I think character matters. Character matters in moments of crisis. When you're down at the end. That's why it would really shock me when they failed down at 4th and 11. I still have Mark Davis's number in here. Why wouldn't I? Yeah. I still got Mark Davis's number right there, right next to Mark Cuban and Mark Dominic, Fabiani. I got Mark Davis right there, Raiders. He'll call me every now and then. And he'll do this. What do you make of Geno Smith? And I'm like, I like Geno. I told him last year, I don't mind him. He led the NFL in interceptions this past year. I think that had more to do with the talent. I love that kid, Brock Bowers. Holy shit, is that guy a good ball player? So what does Bledsoe say about Chris Johnson, SDSU corner? Let me go to Bledsoe. Hang on. Let me do this. Chris Johnson. Let me go to Bledsoe. I saw him play this last year. I'll use the I'll use the Panthers. I'll use the Panthers one. Do you think we hear about Howie's extension? I don't. His contract is up in March. Maybe that they did it, but not the number. I could see the Eagles not extending him, but they didn't tell us about. Yeah, there's no way. Okay. Highly skilled, 190 pounds. SDSU widely considered a top prospect of the 26 NFL draft, potential to go in the second round. Known for exceptional football skills, coverage ability, clean technician, smooth footwork. Johnson is effective in off-man and zone coverages. Boy, that would fit Philly. Ball skills, instincts. Weakness. Some evaluators consider him a zone only. It's okay. Corner due to slight concerns regarding his speed for press man. That's okay. That's how you hide that. You hide it in a Vic Fangio zone. Got tremendous football IQ. Johnson's ability to remain calm at all catch points. His quickness, possessions allows him to disrupt routes without committing penalties, making him a reliable defender, not handsy at all. Considered a high-value starter and a top 5 cornerback in the 26 class. It's a good pull by you. I love dudes that aren't handsy. Okay? Kelly Ringo's too handsy. And he doesn't have hips. He can't turn. What kills him, he's such a good athlete. But the two things that kill him, handsy and he can't hip. He doesn't flex his hips. He's stiff. I think they should play him at safety. Okay? I mean, I would put Keeley in the safety spot. Let me see what he could do at safety. And put him over there. You know what, too? Try him in the slot. Back up Cooper, too. Yeah, but Q's handsy. But you know what he gets away with? His speed. Okay? Because, hey, look, if I'm handsy and I'm reaching, you're going to get called on that. If I'm handsy and I'm up on you, the referee's going to be looking at you as you're turning with the ball. And as long as you're pushing, that to me, if I'm a referee, I'm giving you this. As long as I'm going for it and I'm going for it, I'm giving you this. If I'm behind and I'm doing that, I'm calling you on that every single time. And I'm doing it on jump balls too. You're going to get beat on that. But if you're here with me and you guys are here with me and we're handsy like this and we're both going for the football, I'm not calling that on you. He is, but his speed and his hips and his defense, and he's really clever. He'll also do this. Hey, listen, you know one of the coolest techniques that he does that Darrelle Revis used to do? He would pull on the back of your jersey. He'd pull it down and like this, your shirt would do this. Any kind of thing like that throws your what off? It throws your eye level off. Anytime you pull a guy's jersey from behind, that's why you see a guy pull a jersey. What's it do? It takes your levels off. And that's how you drop the football. Little technique like that. Pull the jersey. Because what the pulling of the jersey does, remember, you're keeping your eyes. And the key to interceptions is keeping your eye level and not moving your eye level. You can move your body, but don't move your eye level. How you move eye level? Pull the jersey down. Pulls the eyeballs down. And hits you in the head. Goes off your hands. A lot of cool techniques. Dion used to do that. He used to pull the back of the guy's jersey, and the guy's eye level will raise or go up. Hit the ball up the top of the head, top of his hands. Sidney Brown is too aggressive. He's just too aggressive. Okay? Just way too aggressive. Q has some of the best hips and footwork. And yeah, his footwork. Like his anchor foot, when he plants and cuts, say he gets behind, he's got makeup speed. That's what I'll tell you this. For him at Toledo, clearly I should have did more studying on the fact that he got to Toledo because he had bad grades in high school. And he sat out a year. And he waited, okay, until he got his grades up. And Toledo gave him the opportunity. All those Power 5 teams didn't give it to him. Toledo gave him a scholarship. And so he needed, promised him a scholarship. So when he got his grades up, he went to Toledo. All of a sudden you watch him. I think there was an Ohio State game early in his career. And he played pretty well against Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay? And everyone started noticing. And all of a sudden the Power 5, Alabama offered him money. Georgia offered him money. He stayed there. And by the way, he was 25 minutes tops to the Gators. He's born right there in Wellington. I've done more work on him. I think the city that he was born in, it was Wellington, Florida, which is right outside of Gainesville. And they started offering, LSU offered him all of that. He said, no, I'm staying here because they promised me. He was committed. He could have went to any Power 5 school. He could have went to Ohio State. Any one of those. Okay? And he decided, no, I'm not. But, yeah, he was just Sidney Brown, the king of friendly fire. And listen, I think he's he's a Lovie Smith guy. All right? So, anybody at Lovie looks at, who's the kid that was there for Witherspoon? Witherspoon was there at Illinois too, and Lovie recruited him. And I remember Lovie telling me about Sidney Brown, great hitter. And, he's another guy you might want to try to play over at Reed Blankenship's spot and see what he could do over there. Many times, man times have changed, huh? If you were good enough back in the day, they'd get you in. I think they get you in now more too, Michael. I do. I think now yeah, you're right. Maybe so. Maybe it's harder to get in now. I think you got to go to smaller schools today, and then they end up plucking you off those smaller schools. And I mean a smaller school like Temple or a place like USF. Okay. I didn't love Makuba much either, Sills. I think he was okay, but nothing special. I think he's too frail. I think he's got good skills. I think he's okay. I didn't think he played poorly. But what chased him out of Clemson, too, was staying healthy. God, the Eagles signed a lot of guys that have nicks in the fender about health. Every single guy almost that's high end. Carter wasn't that way. Davis wasn't. Smith was. Nolan Smith. Kobe was. But Kubit was. Guys that were banged up like that in college, I stay away from. You can't stay healthy in college. I never missed a game because of injuries. And I don't like that. I like guys that are there all the time. Listen, I know you get hurt. And sometimes, you get yourself a deal with a guy and you can get him in a third round. You can get him in a fourth round. That's what Al used to like to do. Al would go back, and one of the cool things that when we were I was working with him and looking at kids, Al would go like this. Let's watch a junior year. Like a kid who got hurt or underachieved his senior year. Like Josh Allen. Josh Allen's junior year at Wyoming, he was great. He was great. When you watch Josh Allen, I remember talking with Alonzo Highsmith. And we're talking about Josh Allen at Wyoming. His junior year, he was spectacular. His senior year, there wasn't the same talent. The coaching staff wasn't very good. They didn't develop the kid. He was just running around, throwing passes. Guys were dropping passes. He was hitting guys in the middle of the chest. Numbers were terrible. And so you're sitting and you're going like, yeah, the team sucks. And so you're watching him and you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, team's not very good. The coach is not very good. You know when the coach is not very good. You can see the kid's not going anywhere. So sometimes you look at the junior year. Like Makuba's junior, I'll tell you, Trotter's sophomore year at Clemson, I thought he was going to be a first-round pick. He played so well his sophomore year. His junior year, I thought they fell off. His senior year, I didn't think he played very well in the front end. I thought he played better down the stretch. They started out rough. And Trotter, I think he got nicked up. And his senior year, his back end, like the final 7 games, I thought he really came out and played well. Okay? Congratulations. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Team USA. F Sweden. Makuba's great in coverage. Needs to keep a bigger safety next to him in the box. Hey, I got to take a timeout here. I haven't taken a timeout yet. Hey, our friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. It is because they win. Family-owned, family-run. There is no other injury company like Morgan & Morgan. They are the number one injury law firm on the planet for a reason. As I said, it's because they win. John and Ultima Morgan, it is family-run, family-owned, and they make sure they defend you and your family to the best abilities. They do. They do so much for families across the country. That has been a mission for them once they built this company 25 years ago. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
We'll start getting into the draft a little more. Al, you know why we are pretty good at the draft? Al Davis taught me a lot about drafting and what to look at for players. I was really good at it. The problem, and I told him this, and like I said, I worked for Al for about 5 years. And for me, what really derailed the Raiders and where the Raiders are now is they got off the football field and they got into the courtroom. I tried telling Mark Davis this as well. The Raiders were so good at finding free agents. And back in the day, they would bring guys in like Matuzak and them dudes who were former first-round picks. And what was the difference with the Raiders back in the day? You know what it was? Was great coaching. They had some of the best coaches around. And they were so gifted in the coaching staffs that many of the places, like it's kind of like what Warren Buffett did. Warren Buffett looks at like companies, and he looks at companies and he looks at people inside the company, right? And he invests in people. He doesn't invest. He told me, and Al did this. Al said this flat out. Al goes, I invest in people. I don't invest in anything else. And so when I'm looking at a player, I look at a guy and I go, where was he? Was he in a company or was he in a team that didn't have very good talent around him? That's why when you look at Jalen Phillips, and I've told Drew Rosenhaus this about him. Like, I know some of you probably think that I'm out on him, and I'm not really out on him, but I'm out on him at $23 million. I think it's a risk. I just think it's a risk. That's why if I lose a guy, I can get the same player. I think Bradley Chubb has had a better career than Jalen Phillips. And here we go again talking about upside. Well, you know what? Upside's great. Talk about production. Who's been a more productive player? Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips? Bradley Chubb's been a more productive player. He's been a better player. And by the way, if I lined up Jalen Phillips' career, okay? Here, you see this line here? I'm not saying you're wrong, Jace. So, Jason, would you take a younger player with less production or an older player that produces if the age difference is 4 years? What would you do? Do you want a productive player or do you want the word potential? Al Davis taught me that word, that potential means you haven't done it. That's right. He's healthier. What's the other one, Donald? He's cheaper. There's more upside with Chubb. He's healthier and he's cheaper. And he's as or more productive. What's the debate? And, by the way, who coached him in Denver? And who coached him in Miami? Anybody? Okay. Anybody know who coached him when he was in Denver and when he was down in Miami? Vic Fangio coached him. So he knows Vic's system. So what's the downside? Sills, I debate this all the time. Who was a better innovator for the NFL, Paul Brown or Lombardi? Paul Brown, by far, created game tape, created game plans. Lombardi, though, was more of a motivator. And he was simple in his ways. The Packers sweep. There's a reason why 2 Hall of Fame running backs and a quarterback are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Starr, Taylor, and Horning. It was the Packers sweep. Wasn't really a high complex. Get this too. Mr. Hill, name me a wide receiver that ever played in pro football for the Packers that went to the Hall of Fame. It wasn't a passing innovative offense. You had obviously the right tackles, one of the greatest of all time. You had the right guard, Jerry Kramer. Ringo, who became an Eagle, was on that offensive line as well. Fuzzy Thurston probably should be in as well. But, yeah, I mean, they didn't throw the ball with great efficiency. They ran the ball with great efficiency. So Paul Brown was the guy who was the innovator. He was the innovator in the passing game. But I think that had more to do with Bill Walsh. Because the passing offense, remember, he ran the ball with Jim Brown in Cleveland. When he got to Cincinnati and he owned the team in Cincinnati, the offensive coordinator on that team was Bill Walsh. And that's where Bill started doing the West Coast offense with Greg Cook. Seals, I want to go all in on defense. I want Chubb and Phillips. Let the offense take a pay cut. It's going to suck anyway. This is Vic's last year. Let him have his guys. By the way, Chubb and Phillips, I thought they really had a great pass rush year when Vic was down there, if I'm not mistaken. Packer Glory Days should have had 12 or more players in the Hall of Fame. You know what's crazy about that team, too? That 59 team that he took over, almost every single player that would go on and win 5 titles in 9 years, they were all on that team. And they won 4 games or 1 game prior to him getting there. When Lombardi took the Packers over, I think they won 1 game. Then the following year, he didn't have a losing season his entire coaching career. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was 9-1 in the postseason. I think Lombardi's record was 9-1. And that one loss is to Philly. So bring Ron Miller as a rotational piece, 9 sacks last year. It's going to cost you money, man. He's a money guy. It's like $20 million. I know. Seals, your Uncle Andy was coached by Landry and Lombardi. Correct. Howe was the head coach of the New York Giants. And that final season in 59, they went to the championship game in 59. I think when Andy was in New York, they went to the championship game in 56, 57, 59, 60, 63. They went to the championship games. He won a title in 54 in Los Angeles, also with the Rams. He was first with the Rams, and he went with the Giants. So he won the 54 championship, and he won the 56 championship. And they got beat in the 59 title game with the Colts, that famous game. Yeah. So the sad thing was they only won 1 title. And they were in the championship game a shitload of times. Yeah, that Giants team was but they ran into the Eagles, and they ran into the Eagles, and they ran into those Colts teams back in the day. Andy's got a 56 and a 54 championship ring and a Hall of Fame ring. And he was the MVP of the league. So, yes. Eagles are the first team to give Lombardi an L in a title game. I was told from Paul Horning that Lombardi walked in after that loss, looked at his Green Bay Packer team and said, "We will never lose a game again like this." And he never did. Dude, one of my favorite people. I met him through Andy, and I can't tell you how many times that Bednarik would come down and come in. I was such a great friend with Chuck Bednarik. Hey, everybody, get in there. He was so wild. I loved Chuck Bednarik. He would come down to Tampa. We would do NFL alumni events. And he'd be down there and he'd come in my studio. What a legend. Dude, of all the people that, come out of Philly, dude, it's recency bias. You haven't had a linebacker better than that guy. I'm not sure you had a better football player. Maybe Reggie. Dude, that guy was legendary. Legendary. The guy on top of the, Ben Franklin on top of that building? Should be Bednarik up there. I mean, very tight. Sam Huff, too. All them dudes. Hey, I'll tell you, Mr. Hill, I'll give you a great story here before we get out of here. So, Robustelli was the general manager of the New York Giants. See that guy back there? By the way, that's his retirement jersey that they hung at the old Giant Stadium. I've had people offer me $5,000 for that thing. I'm like, yeah, no. That's the retirement jersey of Robustelli. And I mean, so when I played at Catholic High, I played with Chris Robustelli and Mike Robustelli, his two kids. And Andy was the general manager. All of a sudden, we get all these old school uniforms. Cat Cabbage. You guys don't know these names. Cat Cabbage, Huff. Those old jackets you see and all those old pictures of the Giants looking up at Yankee Stadium and they're wearing those Giants? Those were our weather. Those at Catholic High, those were our weather jackets. And my practice jersey, one day, I remember I had on Sam Huff's number 70. And I had on Dick Mozelewski's pants, number 77. And we used to wear all this stuff. Today, that stuff would be worth thousands of bucks. But I remember Wyatt Tittle's helmet, his pants, his jerseys, all that stuff. Gifford 16, all that stuff we had all of that. And they were our practice gear. So my coach, Joe Anslow, Andy would come in with these buckets of like jackets and old Giant jerseys. Nobody was saving jerseys then. I mean, all this Giant stuff would come in. Who else did we have? Oh my God. We had so many dudes. We had Summerall stuff. Yeah, I'm wearing Sam Huff's shirt, number 70. Sam Huff, I told him this one day. I sent it to him. I go, Sam, I got your New York Giants jersey. He's like, what? I go, yeah, Andy gave it. They were our practice jerseys. I wore your 70. My grandfather goes, that's it. That's Sam Huff's jersey. Sam Huff was working at the time for the Washington Redskins. So I sent it to him. He's like, how the hell did you get this? What else do you have? I go, I got Mozelewski's pants. Unbelievable. A crazy time. Yep. ESP would put Brandon Graham ahead of Chuck. Dude, no shade on Brandon. Bednarik. Bednarik is one of the 30 greatest players in pro football history. I'm putting Brandon Graham up there. Brandon Graham, by the way, tremendous player. Awesome. Hey, by the way, better athlete than Chuck? Of course. Better player in his era? Never. You got to do it that way. Was he a better football player than Chuck Bednarik in his era? Never happened. Reggie White is the only other guy you could compare Bednarik to in his era. Never happened. It's not. I mean, great coaches. Why did Coughlin step away from coaching? They pushed him out. After Wellington Mara died, all bets were off. They wanted a change. And when Jerry Reese left too, the Giants fell apart and they haven't been the same. Think about it. When Coughlin and Jerry Reese left, the Giants have been a train wreck since. It just been a train wreck. I mean, Jerry Reese was a hell of a general manager. He was the GM of those two Super Bowls with Tom Coughlin. Before that, it was George Young. I knew George very well. I grew up around that giant organization. Concrete Charlie was a two-way player. He was a World War II veteran. Yes, he was. Tremendous football player. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys today, man. I thank you for the supers, man. Again, too. Listen, this weekend there's going to be some deals cut here. All right. You got the combines, I believe, on the 23rd. That starts. I think the players start showing up in the GMs and the agents start showing up on the 22nd. So a lot of news is coming around here in the next couple of days. AJ Brown, Lane's bonus is coming up here too. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Please hit that like button and 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we will see you on the flip side.